Okay. Dan, are you in? Let's see if you got him in here.
I'm unmuted now, and here I am. Hi, can you see and hear me?
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure.
Right. Dashama, thanks for your comments too, Dashama.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. So, are we ready to begin?
The floor is yours.
You're gonna introduce us.
No time like now. Well, let me begin then. And if you would like to interject or interrupt or ask any questions, or if any of your participants joining us would like to, I'm very happy to respond. But I'll start with a few comments, maybe a counterpoint to the love and blessings and peace and everything, because we're all dealing with an unprecedented time of change and learning. And I have been repeating over the years the phrase that life comes at us in waves of change that we can neither predict nor control, but we can learn to surf. And I'd like to congratulate you all for your surfing lessons, because no one will fail to adapt and learn something from this experience we're going through. Any kind of adversity has hidden gifts. If everyone has had physical, emotional, or mental pain in their life, and I think we can all agree that the adversity and challenge we've had in the past has made us a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger, maybe even more compassionate for having gone through that. And so we don't have to pretend to like things, but to learn to flow with them, to learn to surf with what is, without resistance, but in a constructive spirit, will maximize the advantages of the situation. So one way we can view daily life, especially now, but at different times in our lives, we can view it as a form of spiritual weight training to strengthen our spirits. If you don't lift any weights, you don't get any stronger. So I know I'm learning a great deal. I don't mean just by reading the newspapers or books or articles on current events, but timeless events too, the ebb and flow of life. And you know that life develops what it demands. I learned that as a young athlete. Many years ago, I was a gymnast, and in training and in coaching at Stanford University. And I learned that if the more demands you make, the more you develop. To a certain point, you don't want to break, but you want to learn to bend. So this is a time for us to apply the law of surrender. Now, the law of surrender sounds like capitulating, giving up, becoming a doormat, but it's not that at all. Surrender is the most intelligent, creative, assertive approach we can take to any moment arising. Like any good martial artist who is sparring with multiple opponents, we learn that we don't try to resist what's happening. We get out of the way. We use the force to lift, to grow. Because, the saying, life lifts us up or grinds us down, depending on our response. So I think this is one thing to understand and an approach we can take to the events of the day and the events of every day. Now, sometimes it can feel overwhelming. People say, oh, the world is so violent today. Read the newspapers. But actually, if you look out your window, you may hear birds singing. You may see clouds passing. It's quite quiet on the streets right now. We go for walks. We wear masks. We wash our hands before and after out of consideration for others. We observe compassionate boundaries. And do all the appropriate responses to the moment. So I have no guided meditation for you. I just have a heart-to-heart connection. And that's why I'm here with you now. A young man came up to me once after I gave a talk at a university, and he said, Dan, I've heard rumors that you do consultations with people, but you must charge a lot for your time. But I'm a poor college student. What can you tell me for $1? And I said, he gave me his $1, and I told him 6 words. that if he practiced these words, if he takes them to heart, it could change his life and would change his life practice. And those 6 words are, but I see our time is nearly up. No, I'm only kidding. And I think we need to have some humor, even in these moments, especially in these moments. Those 6 words were here and now, breathe, and relax. There's much more to these 6 words than first meets the eye. We know about here and now. All the teachers, from Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, myself, other teachers have reminded us to focus on the present moment. And there are very good reasons to do that. First of all, it's the only moment of reality. Everything else is illusion. The past is what we call past, but it's actually just memory. It's synaptic impulses in our brain we call memory. When we talk about this happened yesterday, yesterday is no longer here. It is only now. And when we talk about the future, it's imagination. We can say, oh, I can think after this little talk I give, I'm going to have dinner. Maybe, maybe not. You never know. But I can project my imagination. These are good human capacities. The problem is we get lost in these. We mistake past and future for reality. And all we have is now. Mark Twain, the writer, once said, I've had many troubles in my life, most of which never happened. Because most of our troubles are from what we call the past, regrets, or anxieties about the future. We can always handle the present moment right now. This brings us back to earth, grounded in this moment. So when I say here and now, it brings us back to reality. It quiets the mind. How does it quiet the mind? Because whenever you think about anything, you are thinking about the past or the future. In this present moment, there is no thought. There is only awareness. Now that sounds a bit mystical, but what do I mean by that? Well, if I was with you right now, 6 feet away or 10 feet away, and tossed you some keys or a ball and said, catch. In that moment, reaching for that ball, you would not be thinking about what you had for breakfast this morning or what you're going to do tomorrow. You would be pure awareness, reaching. And there's a certain absorption and flow in that. So that's why we like to play frisbee and throw frisbees and play catch and perform with musical instruments and in theater and drama and art. It brings us back to that immersion in the moment, which is essentially pleasurable to the human being, what we're doing right now. So this is our moment of power and reality, whatever is going on in life. But again, it can seem so overwhelming, but we come back to the simplicity of this moment. How about breathe and relax? Well, let's talk about stress, because many people say, I feel anxious. I feel concerned right now for myself and loved ones and others in the world. There's nothing wrong with these feelings. I feel all those feelings at times. But rather than trying to make people feel better, I think we're going to have more impact if we focus on what we actually do. And that doing may look very still. It may be a meditation. That's still doing something. In any moment, we're doing something. And it's focusing on our purpose in that present moment. So when I say breathe and relax, this helps us deal with stress. Because if people say, I feel stressed, and oh, stress is bad for you, I read that somewhere or heard that. Actually, stress doesn't exist. Stress is it's an abstract idea. We call that, you can't put it in my hand. We can't tie it up with a bow. It's not a thing, it's an idea. Stress happens when the mind resists what is. Now, I can tell you right now how to have no stress in your life for the rest of your life. And I'm about to do that. Are you ready? Okay. Don't care about anything. Well, that may not be very good advice, right? But if you don't care about anything, you're not going to feel stress. However, we do care. We're engaged with life. And that's a natural human trait. So stress is going to be a natural part of our life. But there's a huge difference of being stressed and then being tense, or stopping our breathing, or breathing in shallowly because we feel stressed. There's a huge difference between that and going through a stressful time, relaxing. Can you imagine yourself just totally relaxed, going, I'm feeling really stressed now. It's a very different quality than I'm so stressed. So here and now, breathe and relax. Stress isn't under our control, but tension is. We can tense our body. We know that. We can also relax it. We can breathe fully, or we can breathe in an inhibited way. There's even a word for it, keyboard apnea. When you're texting, often we're breathing shallow. Pouring water or liquid into a glass, we inhibit our breathing. Taking a selfie, you're probably not breathing at all. So the point is, we're meant to breathe throughout the day in a rhythmic way. And when you remember, as a meditation throughout the day, when you remember, just take a nice deep breath. Now, yes, do we need to think about our breathing? After all, we breathe all day. It's autonomic. It's automatic. But the mind imposes tension on the body. So if we consciously take a nice deep breath every once in a while, it's a pleasurable thing to do. Please. We can do that. That's a simple, everyday thing we can practice. Here and now, breathe and relax. And then we can face what we call stress or concern or anxiety in a whole different way. So that's why it's a practice for life. I'm still learning, I'm still improving. Like any practice, it gets better over time. So this is one practical thing we can do. We can get a handle on this. It's not a cosmic meditation where we can only do once in a while. It's everyday practice, here and now in everyday life. So that is one thing I wanted to share with you. I don't know if we're capable during this presentation of responding to questions. I'll put my glasses on so I can see if anybody can text a question, or if Bryant wants to ask me a question, or Dashama, I'm happy to respond. I wish I could touch you all and give you a hug, but that's not practical today. So
yeah, we're all giving you a hug.
Oh, great. Group hug. Terrific. Yeah.
One of those things.
So, yeah. Bryant, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I mean, after reading the book, it really, those books that you come across that really allow you to feel understood and seen. You know, they're like, oh, this is all part of the awakening. You know, it's all part of us understanding something deeper on a more intimate level. And your book really did that for me. So was that multiple experiences that you went through and then put it all together? And then what were the key points? And can you elaborate on some of those experiences?
Sure. And in doing so, I might add that I'm working on my 18th book, probably my final book. I never say never. But it only took me 40 years to write those 17 books. And it's going to be memoir. It's going to be the story behind the story of Peaceful Warrior. And it'll have many revelations in it, including the 4 mentors who influenced my life and work, who I haven't mentioned much before, about my lineage and the spiritual search, the whole search for happiness, for the good life, and so on. So that is my current project I'll be returning to as soon as we finish. Also, if anyone is curious about my work, they can always go to peacefulwarrior.com. And there's a free life purpose app there. They just click on the life purpose calculator. It's free. And that may help people to get some quick clarity about their life. So that's a good point of contact. Now, as far as the Peaceful Warrior book, which leads me back to your question, the book, I've been straightforward about this from the beginning. It is an autobiographical book. I don't call it memoir because I deliberately put elements of fiction woven into the story. So much of it is true and factual. But Way of the Peaceful Warrior also has some fictional elements for the sake of the story and the teaching. Picasso once said, art is a lie that helps us to see the truth. So I don't know if my book is art or not, but that's what I aim to do in terms of presenting the book in that way. But all the answers about questions about Socrates, my old mentor, the old gas station mechanic, played by Nick Nolte in the movie version of the book, that will be revealed in the new memoir. All will be revealed. So
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
My favorite Picasso quote is, find out what you love and give it away for free.
Yeah, I love that too.
We really appreciate having you here.
Sure.
So yeah, I really, the visualization, the foot massage that you wrote in the book to just open up and allow your feet to ground. Can you explain that process a little bit more? Because I found that to be one of like the golden gems that really influenced me.
Sure. You know, it's funny. People get different things out of a book. One person said, your book was a lot about cooking. And I went, what? Yeah, Socrates was always chopping vegetables and making you, you know, different foods and teas. But as far as that foot massage, actually, it was a whole body massage. It takes 6 hours. It's called Chua Ka, based on a Mongolian warrior massage. And it massages all the bone surfaces of the body. There's 3 steps to it. It's quite deep. You feel like you've been fasting for days after doing even 4 hours of this thing. So it's a way of processing and taking responsibility for our own tensions we've developed over the years, and there are different zones of fear, and so it's a big deal. But I'll say more about that again in the memoir in more detail.
Amazing. Yeah, and we're opening up the floor for anybody that wants to ask Dan a question. This is
Sure.
a really beautiful time to be able to do so.
From Anthony. Oh, I just saw something appear and disappear. Let's see. I don't know where the questions will
What is
appear.
the difference
I'm new.
between heart and mind?
What is the
Difference between heart and mind?
Oh, well, you know, we can talk about heart and mind in 2 ways, metaphorical or poetic. You know, my heart, my mind. But the mind, as we all know, I mean, it's nothing unusual or esoteric. It's our intellectual faculties. We can write poetry, paint, analyze. We've created brilliant things in science and different fields. So we use the mind. It's definitely a tool we can use, our intellectual capacity. But the discursive mind, the mind of thoughts popping up all the time, can block the heart, can block our feelings. Now, when we talk about the heart, first of all, there's this organ in our chest. But of course, we also mean it as our feeling dimension, our connection, our spiritual or emotional connection to life. And also as a chakra. As we know, the chakra system, from the base chakra to the sexual chakra, the power, anger chakra, in the solar plexus, and then in the heart. In my book, Sacred Journey of the Peaceful Warrior, there's this tower of 7 levels, which represents the chakras. And I think it gives a visceral experience of what it's like when awareness moves from one up to the next. It's only when we connect with our heart, when our awareness is rested in the heart, that our higher self comes in, and we begin to feel the inspiration and love of that higher self, our guardian angel. So that's what comes up for me when you ask about the mind and heart. Thank you for asking the question.
I see another question. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dashama.
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 So here's another question. How to get past blocks to heal the chakras and life flow energy, from Mary Reinhardt. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for the question. For me, just for me, I'm like a hobbit. It's a little bit lofty, abstract for me, how to heal the chakras. I mean, there are many people who will tell you that. You can look it up, Google it, you know, how to heal chakras, and there'll be many aura balancing and spinning pendulums and all sorts of things you can do. But I will say this, and it's not exactly responding to your question, but it's the best I can do at this point, which is our lives, our sense of ourself, what we accomplish, our presence, depends largely on what we do from moment to moment. There are other teachers who have a very different view. They talk about our beingness, but again, that's abstract for me. So our lives are not shaped by what we're feeling. Feelings are like the weather. They pass through us and change all the time. Our thoughts are sometimes positive and sometimes negative. But if we just focus on what needs doing now in this moment, and do it constructively, productively, and bring our best selves forward, the best we can do that particular day, that particular moment, I believe the more we will accomplish in life. And by accomplishment, I mean functioning. Now, functioning well in life may not sound too sexy or spiritual, but people who get things done tend to have more of a default sense of happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction than people who don't get things done. Whether it's a project or exercise or an improvement in one aspect of our life for another, it always comes down to what we do moment to moment. In fact, let me read you something very brief. Okay, to progress toward your goals, choose one of the following 2 methods. The first one is very popular. Find a way to quiet your mind, create empowering beliefs, raise your self-esteem, and practice positive self-talk to find your focus and affirm your power to heal your chakras, free your emotions, and visualize positive outcomes so that you can develop the confidence to generate the courage, to find the determination, to make the commitment, to feel motivated enough to do whatever it is you need to do. The second method, which I recommend, is you can just do it. It's much more efficient, much quicker. I hope you understand what I'm saying, that there are many fascinating methods we can do inner work, fixing our insides, our emotions and thoughts, so we can just get what needs to be done. But if we focus on bringing enlightenment into everyday life, to behave as a compassionate, grateful, kind, loving being, that to me is the key. And I see my time is running down. So maybe someone else has a question from Doreen. Maybe someone can read me that question because I only saw the first part of it.
What would be the best way for a beginner to begin learning self-purpose? You spoke on it a little bit earlier, but I think
yes. Purpose is, I've written books called Living on Purpose, one called The Life You Were Born to Live, one called The Four Purposes of Life. So purpose is central to what I teach. And in the Peaceful Warrior movie, Dan and Socrates are walking up a hill. And at the top of the hill, Dan has a realization, the character. And he says, Socrates, I realize it's the journey that makes us happy, not just the destination. And that's a nice idea, because most of our lives are the journey, not just the destination. But without a destination in mind, there is no journey. We just wander around. So from our point A, we need a point B. My daughter just sent me a video of my 10-month-old granddaughter crawling across the floor, doing the army crawl across the floor. She was going for something. She wasn't just doing it to exercise. She was going for something. She wanted it. And so by finding out, there are 3 good guidelines for living wisely and well. First of all, accept your thoughts and feelings, positive or negative, as natural to you in that moment. You don't have to fix them, change them, worry about them. Just accept them. This is what I'm feeling and thinking right now. The second thing is, what is my purpose? What is my goal? What do I want to get done in this moment? Not cosmically in 20 years or 30 years, but right now, what would I like to do? You know your purpose right now. I do too. I know mine. And the third is, do what needs to be done in line with your purpose to the best of your ability. Our emotions, our thoughts create tendencies to behave in a certain way. And yet we're here to transcend those tendencies and become peaceful warriors while we live, living with a peaceful heart and bringing that into life in our breathing, in our manner, in our presence. And this is a behavior. It's not some inner light. It's our behavior. What do we bring to life? And the second thing is with the warrior spirit, because there are times like today, we need a warrior spirit to be willing to tackle what we're facing, respond intelligently. It's nothing that is asking you of superhuman powers or to be totally mystical or spiritual. It's bringing spirit into everyday life. So I think hopefully that responds to the question about purpose. Oh yeah, thank you, Doreen. I'm glad you liked that response. And again, I want to really wish all of you my heartfelt best wishes, and to underscore what I just said by saying something quite provocative, and then I'll take Arezu's question. Oh, to everyone. Oh, isn't that nice? It's just a comment. And now from Dinah, sure. I'm not recommending, I'm not encouraging you to feel grateful or happy or peaceful or kind or courageous or confident. I'm encouraging you to behave that way. And you may say, well, wait a minute, that sounds hypocritical. That doesn't sound authentic. If you're feeling one way and you behave another, but actually it can be a great virtue. It's like behaving with courage when you're feeling afraid. You can also behave with kindness when you're feeling angry. You can behave with confidence when you're feeling shy. This is the core of, it's not the only thing I teach. I wouldn't have written 17 books, believe me, but it is a core element of my teaching, which is to bring positive, illumined, compassionate, courageous behavior into life, whether or not you happen to be feeling that way at the moment. Try it sometime. It's a moment of transcendence and liberation. So you're no longer at the affect, at the mercy of whatever thoughts or feelings happen to be passing through you. And that's what we do in meditation. We begin to see and get some distance from those random discursive thoughts and emotions that pass like the weather. So I hope that's been useful. I think it's about my sign-off time now. I want to give Bryant and Dashama some space here to give a transition. I want to wish you all very well. And with that, I'll be signing off. So you take care.
Thank you, Dan. We love you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
First, so sit on the bed so we can.
But then everybody's gonna be able to see me.
No, you're gonna.
Love you, love you, love you. Oh, I wish it was longer.
Okay. And then can you go to my screen once you have it shown? Yep. Okay, aloha everyone. I'm so excited. My super goddess, best friend, queen of the universe friend, Trista, and her amazing, amazing king, Shane Mosley. I'm in the front, but they're going to be teaching about and demonstrating Egyptian tantra. And I really feel, I just want to mention for anybody who hasn't heard of tantra, you know, it's actually such an amazing way to experience oneness with a partner. And these two are getting married in October after an amazing 6-year relationship. And so they're such a great partnership to teach about this. It's a powerful, powerful practice, Egyptian tantra, and Trista's going to be fusing that with her science mind so that you can really feel and understand the power that this has. And then they're also going to be demonstrating for us. So I'm super, super excited about that. Everybody give a warm welcome to these two. Aloha. Okay, so say hello.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to meet you all, and we're so excited to be trying out this new Zoom way of connecting with you guys during quarantine and sharing the information that we have and learning information from all of you guys at home. So let's get started. Want to say anything, Greg?
No, go ahead.
Oh, just so I can say one thing about Shane. So Shane is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame for boxing. If you don't know who he is, Sugar Shane Mosley, epic human being, one of the best humans I've ever met. Such a good soul, amazing, amazing person. And we want to thank him for being courageous and bold today and sharing this gift.
Okay, you just click this right here. Okay. So I wanted to start out just by explaining a little bit what Tantra is. There's a lot of different interpretations that are out in the world, and so the Tantra interpretation that I have is based on the ancient Egyptian philosophies, and so Tantra is a spiritual science that gives the body a function using the breath and poses or positions and sexual energy to transcend this world, to enter the portal to a higher consciousness. So the word Tantra comes from the Sanskrit root tan, which means to expand, to spread, or stretch. And tra, which means instrument. Therefore, Tantra literally means the instrument to expand. So how exciting is that? You can expand the level of our consciousness from ordinary to extraordinary with self-realization as the ultimate goal. So it also means to loom or weave together, which in fact is the teaching that the universe is a web in which everything is interrelated and interconnected. So in Tantra, the body is seen as a living temple and sexual energy as divine energy. The body, with all its energies, is considered a divine instrument. Okay? So this is like a divine instrument And I can use this divine instrument, and he can use my divine instrument to transcend and to get through another portal. So like yoga, tantra is all about physical and spiritual awareness. The energies you channel during tantric sex flow throughout your body and can intensify your orgasm. So, okay, so tantra isn't only focused on reaching a higher state of mind or body consciousness. It can also be about creating a deeper, more harmonious bond with your partner. So, as far as the Egyptian aspect of it, I wanted to just give you a couple words in Egyptian, ancient Egyptian, and what they mean, because I'll use those. The Ka is the life force of the person. Basically, it's like our double, our other side. And then the Ba is synonymous with what we would call the soul. The Za is the divine higher self. And then the Ankh, and I'm going to teach you this Ankh method of Tantra, and it's for eternal life. It's balance of the male and female energies. And these energies of creation, the Ankh is the pathway at orgasm to the highest dimension. So, and then Mer, or the combining of the male and the female principles of the individual in order to unite the two individuals into oneness and approach the portal. So, how is ancient Egyptian Tantra different than Indian or Western philosophy of Tantra? Well, it's different because in Egypt, they believed that energy work and sound healing and it was a science, and they used it every single day in their lives. So as you can see from our setup, can you see this? Yeah, we have our sound bowls here at the foot of our bed. We put it into practice in our everyday life, just as the ancient Egyptians did. So we use our sound bowls and our meditation to get our minds prepped and ready for Tantra. So these are the steps. You need to prepare your mind with meditation, with breath work. Plant medicines are amazing. We love using marijuana or mushrooms are really good. I love ayahuasca, different hapes, and things like that. And I can also do a video later on those things. And then prepare your space. You know, you want to sage and light your candles, incense, put on music, set your space. And then you can go on to studying your partner's body and your own body. Do a self-caress. It's really nice to use with my favorite, coconut oil, which is also a really amazing lubrication for sex and for, you can just put it everywhere. So I love to do like caressing myself, and you can caress your partner and really feel into your body. And then you can work on some eye gazing, energetic movement together, and synchronizing your breath. And then you want to set your intention, and then you can begin your practice. So we won't do the coconut oil massage for you guys because that would get too hot and intense. It's not that kind of show today. But I'm just explaining that you can, set your space and then use your coconut oil for self-massage and massage your partner. And then just observe your partner. Observe like everything about them, and that really helps you to connect. So we're going to show you some easy breathing exercises and positions that you can do. So are you ready for this, Ray?
Let's try it.
We do this together, but he's a little shy to do it in front of people, but he's so brave, and we're so excited that you're here doing this with us. So you just sit across from your partner, and you can cross your legs if you're able. How are these jeans? Are they good for you?
Not good.
Okay. So his jeans aren't that stretchy, so he's gonna just sit like this. But you can typically sit both cross-legged across from each other. You can also sit like this if you like. Maybe scoot over a little bit more. You can go to the Zoom. Where's the video? Okay. All right. Nice. So, yes. So sometimes we start holding hands and sometimes we start without touching, because sometimes I find in order to center your own energies and not touching your partner is the best way. But if you've already kind of aligned your energies and you want to start holding hands or touching, that's also perfectly fine. So we're going to synchronize our breath in the way of we're going to pull down from our solar plexus, and we're going to breathe up. And then as I'm breathing out, he's going to breathe in, and he's going to push his breath down and send it out to me, and we're going to create this circle, and then we'll reverse it, and we'll go back the other way. And so as he's breathing out, he's visualizing he's breathing out through his penis. And I'm going to pull it up through mine. And so in that way, you're able to breathe in his life force, his essence, and he's able to breathe in your life force and your essence. Isn't that such a beautiful way to connect? Another pose that we like to do is the hand on the heart. And we'll do a little eye gazing or breath work when we're doing this. And another breath that you can do is to synchronize your breath, where you're breathing at the same time. You're breathing in and out. And I like to do that synchronized breath when we're doing our heart, because you can feel the heartbeat and you can really align your bodies, connect your bodies together, because that's going to really be useful when he enters you, and then you're able to maximize your orgasm that way. So we're going to take a deep breath in together. And once you've connected in those ways, it's nice to transition into the lotus position, which is the woman comes all the way up onto the man. He holds her firm and strong, and she wraps her legs around him. And now all of our chakras are aligned, and we put our foreheads together. And we can also put our hands. This is another variation where you can put your hands together like this, as these are our energy exit and enter points. Okay, I'm going to show you a breath that I like to do called the 3-6-9 breath. I love 3, it's such a powerful number, and 6 and 9 are all versions of 3. So it's where you're going to breathe in for 3 seconds, hold it for 6 seconds, and then breathe out for 9 seconds. Okay, so you're going to breathe in for 3, hold for 6, out for 9. And breathing out for 9, when you only breathe in for 3, is a trick, because it's you don't have as much breath to breathe out. So you have to really slowly release that breath, and that helps you to feel the breath. And it's just a beautiful way to like learn your breathing and feel your breathing. Okay. Yoni massage. So you can relax, you can arch your back, and he's going to help me lay down slowly to the bed like that. Okay, so you're down. Uh-oh, my internet connection's not available. Can you guys still see us? Are you guys still with us? Okay, so you're here, so perfect time to do some yoni massaging. And men, if you don't know about yoni massaging, this is the Zoom for you. You need to know this, because your women will just have so much pleasure. She's gonna be obsessed with you, like I'm obsessed with this one. And okay, so it's the act of worshiping your goddess, and the women can also worship her god. But so when you're down, he's going to enter with his fingers and do this yoni massage, which we'll do a different video on that one. I'm going to go all the way into the yoni massage, but it's about the anticipation. And so that yoni massage is going to lead you to the main technique that I'm going to teach you today, which is really exciting, and it actually allows the woman to squirt. If you're interested in learning how to squirt, this is the technique to do that. So after maybe about 10-15 minutes of a nice yoni massage where he's playing with the clitoris and the labia and going inside and massaging the G-spot, then he's going to change positions into his God position, and that is on his knees. You need help getting out? You got it? Okay. You know the squirt position. Assume the squirt position. So, okay. So he's going to be with his legs fairly close together like that. You'll be like this. And this position and this technique is all about anticipation. You want the woman to want you to enter her with everything that's in her. So you're teasing her with your penis. You're going to take your penis and you're going to rub it on the outside of her vagina, tap it, and then put your fingers in and out in a way, and then you're gonna put the very, very tip of the penis inside and then pull it out. Like, can you show them how you do it? Show them your way. Show them your technique where you like pull it out, like if it was there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. So yeah, it's like that. So, and then you like pop it out. Show them how you pop it. Can you? Okay, so we're going to turn this way because I want to be able to show you guys the technique. So you can turn around, baby. Okay, so when you're tapping onto the vagina wall and you're putting your fingers inside and you're putting the very tip into the opening, you're going to just put the very tip in and then you're going to pop it out like this. Pop it. And then you put your finger in. She wants it to be your penis. It's not your penis, it's your finger, and she can tell, but it's this play of like magnetic energy where her vagina is wanting to pull you in, and you're teasing her, but you're not putting it in, but you're rubbing it on there, and it's right in that area. That is going to make her juices flow down, and it's really going to cause the explosion, which is the squirting. If that makes any sense to you guys, I hope it does. Let me see if there's any comments, and maybe I can answer any questions you guys have. Let's see. Yeah, it is similar to the yab yum breathing. That's right. How do you move the energy? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so I imagine it's called the serpent, and it goes up your spine, and there's two serpents. One that goes this way is the feminine, the divine feminine, and the other one is the divine masculine. And so you imagine this energy. This is actually the Ankh technique, where you're pulling it up to your heart chakra, and then it goes out your back, and then up over your head, and then back in through your heart, and then back down. And you want to breathe as you're doing this, visualizing the energy is coming out your back, up over your head, back into your heart, and then back down. And you can do that when you're in the lotus position, and you can do it when you're by yourself, you can do it all the time, but that's the Ankh technique of maximizing your orgasm and moving that energy up to achieve the enlightenment. And yes, it is very sensual without full contact. That's true. And when he's doing this technique, the squirting technique, of teasing, it's building this anticipation. And if you're looking in each other's eyes, it's the most intense thing. I really recommend you guys, right after this is over, go find your partner and try it out. You're gonna squirt everywhere. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna be like, wow, thank you, Trista and Shane for sharing us this. There is a lot you can do without a partner. Yeah, there is so much you can do without a partner. Masturbation magic is really amazing as well, because you're building this energy with yourself, and you can also do the visualization techniques for the on position by yourself while you're masturbating. Totally true. Thank you. The sacred info is needed for many. Yes, it is. It's so needed for many. And I think that when you're doing these things and you're connecting with your partner in these ways, Tantra is not just about sex. It's a science of and a method of enlightening yourself. But the sex part of it with your partner is just another tool to really bring you closer together, to bond you, and then your orgasms are more intense. Everything's just better when you're doing this with a partner, right, baby? Mm-hmm. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll try to answer some before I get off. Let's see. Let's hear. Yes, that's true. There's also a circular energy from the female's root to the top of the head into the male's top of the head and back down. That's totally correct. There's so many different ways you can play with your energy, and when you learn them and you try different ones out, so exciting and fun to explore. I really recommend you guys researching ancient Egypt. They were brilliant civilization of people, and they really understood energy at a totally different level than we understand it. So I really recommend that. Why is it that only I have connected to my divine and my partner doesn't seem to see things and view things that I do? That is an interesting question. It's very difficult to be with a partner who doesn't have the same views and understanding and mastery of their mind as you do, because you really need, if you're doing Tantra, your partner to be a participant and understand it. So sometimes, you can prod them along. Shane has learned so much in just a few years, and he takes it really serious. He studies a lot. So I think if your partner really loves you and you're really bonded and you're like, this is important to me, it's going to help our relationship, it's going to help our spiritual life, then, they might take an interest, and you can show them and bring them on your journey with you. You're welcome, Amanda. Thank you for that positive comment. You know what? I haven't so I'm starting to do a YouTube channel, and so I'm going to start teaching this stuff on a YouTube channel. So I haven't started it yet. When I do, I'll send out a broadcast, and I've been filming some content, and I do have some videos that are ready to go. What's your take on doing other sensual touching before going for the insertion? Oh, do you mean like fellatio? So, you know what? I don't typically like to do the fellatio because I find that if I do it, it won't squirt. So it's because it's another form of sex. So you really want to build that anticipation. That's what causes the squirting. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the importance of trust as it relates to the sexual openness in a relationship? Oh my God, that's such a good question. That is a beautiful question. So, it's interesting because in the beginning of our relationship, we didn't have a huge amount of, well, we did in the beginning, and then we didn't. And I think that was more of me projecting my fears onto him. He's famous, he's an athlete, he's rich. And I was like, his last girlfriend was extremely beautiful, and everywhere we went, people wanted to touch him and take photos with him. And I was like, you're gonna cheat on me. And so, you know, we had a period where we didn't have a lot of trust, and that is really, really hard. And so our sexual life suffered from that. We were, you know, I was more tight. And so doing the tantra actually helps build the trust, because I know now he's not going anywhere. This is the best sex of his life. Like, I have all the tricks. I know all the tricks. And so, like, you know, once I started practicing the tantra with him, and he was like, he cried one time during the sex. It was so good. He was like, oh my God. It was like the connection was so good. So once you are doing this practice, you're going to have so much trust. I have my friends who run around the house in like yoga clothes and, like, you know, half naked all the time, and I don't feel any sort of way because I know that we're connected, we're locked in. What other health practices do you both do? So we're both vegan. We do yoga, Tai Chi. I practice like martial arts, archery. Shane, he boxes a lot. He's also getting good at yoga.
I do a lot of yoga.
Yeah, you tell him. What else do you do, baby?
No, I just do yoga and boxing. That's my main focus right now. Yoga and tantra.
Yeah, we do a lot of herbs. We take a ton of vitamins. We do like bladderwrack, sea moss, MSM. If you guys don't know about MSM, buy some. It's literally the fountain of youth. I use a practice of DMSO and not derma rolling. Is it derma? Is that what it's called? Yeah. It's a little roller with needles on it, and that really, and vitamin C. I use a lot of coconut oil on everything. It's really good. Vegans do it better. Can this also help those in their 50s? Yeah, I mean, this can help people at any age, of course, for sure. Especially the MSM. Yeah, CMOS. Okay, yes. Do I recommend any books? Okay, so there is an author, Dr. Matuwaba Ashby. Matuwaba Ashby. He is like the foremost Egyptologist. He knows everything about Egypt, Egyptian tantra, Egyptian yoga, everything. And his books are the most informative. He's like the best. I also love Osho, 112 Secrets of Meditation. It's basically like a Bible. You met who in college? Matuwaba? No way. Like, if you're talking about Matuwaba, oh my gosh, like, he is amazing. No, we never visited that village. But we do love Dr. Sebi. Well, we loved him before he died. Okay. All right, guys. It's been so amazing to spend this time with you. And if you guys have any questions for Shane before we get off, you can shoot some over. Otherwise, I guess we're going to go and do some tantra. Okay. Bye.
That was amazing, Trista. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Shane, for being courageous to do that. And I hope everybody really got a lot out of that, because it's a unique and powerful practice and a way to get into a oneness experience with your life. But specifically, if you can be in oneness with another person, that is truly the challenge of life. And so that's why our relationships tend to be our greatest teachers. And I'm so grateful to have been able to share Trista and Shane with everybody here today in the Oneness Festival. We're going to have another speaker coming on in just a moment, and Bryant Wood is going to interview him, Sebastian Seigal, and I'm excited about this talk. You know, they have two brilliant minds coming together in a beautiful conversation around oneness and consciousness, and I'm sure they'll also be opening it up to questions as well. So thank you, everybody who's still here and who's just joined us. And we're just going to take like a minute, and when Sebastian gets on, Brian will start. Actually, Brian, how about you just take over if you're ready right now?
Hello. See everybody here. How's everybody doing? Woo, that was a workshop. Dan and then Trista and Shane. Yeah, they were pretty much covering everything. I think this is the initiation of this Oneness Festival was like, all right, how can we, mix everything and put it together of all the things we've used and found to be very helpful. Sebastian's going to be coming on soon. He's what I consider a master storyteller. I came across him. I came across a meditation that he did, and it was one of the most profoundly impactful experiences in regards to a guided meditation that I've been able to be a part of. So he'll be with us in the next 4 minutes. And to touch on my Tantra journey as well, that's how I had my energetic awakening too. So to find a partner that is down to dive into oneness and experience those levels of cosmic orgasms is quite a treat, but also something that you can communicate when you're speaking from the heart. So it's definitely there as an option. And if you're researching it and learning, oh, hey, Todd's here. Oh, hey, Todd. Hey, Bubba. Nice. I noticed my dad's watching this too. I know he's all into the Tantra thing too. So it's really cool to have this, bringing everybody together. So good job. You're great. It's so good. Legend. Legend. I'm going to pause everybody for about a minute and let's wait for Sebastian to get on and we'll take it from here.
Looks like I'm on here.
My brother, welcome. Thank you so much for coming here. You look like an angel, of course. Little introduction about Sebastian. Amazing director, writer, producer. He pretty much does it all. He has a film coming up called Grace and Grit. We're going to touch on it a little bit. And he wrote the book, The Consciousness Revolution. And you also did another documentary on consciousness, correct?
Yes, Awakening World and Spirit of Evolution. Awakening World, what's the purpose of life, what's love, what's heaven, what's hell, what's intimacy. And that's online with Beyond Words Publishing.
Amazing. So that's where if you want to, at the end of this, find out more about him, we're also going to have a link for that as well. So I don't want to waste any time. I've kind of been waiting for this moment to have with you for quite a long time now after first meeting you. So I'm excited to be able to ask you some questions, and we have a list of them. So I'm going to just get right to it. The value of transcendence. I know this is something that you wanted to talk about, and I feel that we all kind of understand the word, but we maybe not have embodied the practices or feeling or experience. So maybe you could speak from your own.
Mm-hmm. It's such a great question. And I think that the value of that is really seeing where we are in sort of the collective consciousness and as individuals in the world right now, that so many people will use this term. You see it coming up everywhere online saying, hey, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And most people understand that from here and have this sensibility about that up here, but a lot of times it's not being embodied. And the essential transcendence is just going beyond, right? So when we think about any type of meditative practice, we think about going beyond our bodies, letting our body go, even when we fall asleep, right? We let our body go, we let the physical world go, and going then beyond our thoughts, being aware of our thoughts, but going beyond those things, and then going beyond our emotions, right? Feeling those things, but going beyond them, knowing that there's an I that exists behind the I that is all-seeing. That's a transcendent experience, right? This stepping back and witnessing further and further and further and further back. And I think that collectively what we're experiencing right now, and a lot of the pathology that we're looking at in sort of the collective consciousness, saying that we understand so many of these things up here, but a lot of them aren't being embodied in the way that we're mandating different things. You see a lot of people are panicking around this, and that the panic is in a lot of ways causing repercussions of things that are much worse than the initial problem. So I think about, how does your religion show up now? How does my spirituality show up now? Where does my practice show up now? And this idea about self and other being separate is the real danger here. I saw something earlier today. I try not to get too lost in the news, but obviously I want to take the temperature every day of what's going on out there. And there was a woman who was on her way to a church service, and a newscaster had interviewed her, and then a bunch of people had gone really critical about her online. And she was saying, I've got I have the right to go to my church practice, even if it's a group of people collected. I can go to Walmart, I can go to the market, I can go get alcohol, I can go get weed, I can go to all these places and be 6 feet apart. Why can't I do it in my church? And she was just articulating it though in a very different way by saying, I have the blood of Jesus on me. right? And then people went nuts on her online. That exact critique of her, right, is exactly what gets the person who you don't want elected again, whether it's liberal or conservative, doesn't matter either side. In other words, that opposition, that splitting off is what causes the pathology, right? That's not a transcendent perspective at all. It's not an encompassing and compassionate perspective. The win part there, in other words, it's akin to walking in a room with a group of 7-year-olds and saying, everyone's wrong here. Now everybody listen to me. The opposite would say, you know, we go in and we embody what is this person feeling, understanding, and say, okay, the idea behind integration, behind an integral perspective is that it's all mixed. In other words, that we have ideas and solutions, but that everyone else has ideas and solutions. So how do we ground that? This woman who's going to the church, the response would be to say, hey, this is really important to this woman, and maybe getting sick for her is not as scary as missing out on something else that's more important to her. Now, maybe getting sick is scarier for somebody I know who's really old, or for me or someone else, but she's got something here to say that's important. Let's acknowledge that. Can we open up churches or hikes or places and say, hey, let's follow the same protocol that we're following at Bevmo, or that we're following at whatever the place is, Whole Foods, or that we're following at Ralph's, or that we're following those places. I.e., in other words, I think what's occurring here is that what Martin Buber terms as the I-thou relationship, seeing the face of God in every other human being and having that respect as other as self, right? Having that in this experience, saying, whatever it is, no matter how outlandish or outrageous it may seem, let's acknowledge that. And I think not being acknowledged is what is catalyzing the issue to become worse here.
I understand. Yeah, that's beautifully put, Sebastian. And your way to incorporate multiple perspectives for us to understand a oneness aspect of this whole experience that we're all going through, I think is a beautiful thing. So is there any other, I guess, stories that you find right now very relevant to the time that we can not only understand the problem, but then also self-discover the solution?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. The value of storytelling. Thanks so much for bringing up Grace and Grit, which is a film that I made based on Ken Wilber's globally acclaimed book, which is a story about a man and woman fall in love. And it's a story about courage and trouble and the challenges with that and selflessness. Ultimately, it's about selfless love and transcendence. And I think that in the trailers everywhere online, Grace and Grit, the movie. And I think that the value really in that story and the value that we look to in those stories is to say, well, let's reevaluate what is this human experience and what does death mean, right? So in other words, let's take this pandemic that's occurring right now. We said, what if we reevaluate death? What if it's not this scary, horrible place? What if it's spectacular, right? And we can't wait to get there. Like, it's just the greatest thing ever, that we're really spiritual beings having a human experience, not spiritual beings having a human experience intellectually, but actually, right? Embodying that on a cellular level. We still want to live. We still want to kiss. We still want to smell flowers. We still want to engage. We still want to live. We still want to acknowledge this pandemic as being very real biologically. But if we reevaluate what it is to die, then what does that do? Automatically, that releases the pressure, where we're no longer afraid, where then we don't have people running down the street saying, hey, get out of my way from my space, right? It's about me. In other words, that we let go of that egoic, self-centric, ethnocentric, sociocentric perspective and take a broader collective perspective and say, hey, listen, we're all on the way to this miracle. And I think that if we start to look at these, what's right in a number of all these different religions, and you look at this Islamic faith, or, you look at the sort of the tenets of Buddhism, or we look at the Hindu, we look at the Hindu myths and traditions, and we say, hey, there is this thing that resonates on forever. So let's really get in the groove and jive with the thing and say, well, if the worst thing is death, and that thing is wonderful, then let's not stress so bad. In other words, if this thing is horrible and we're all going to die, well, okay. And if it's horrible and we're going to get through it, well, okay. Well, either way, let's decide to take a window of view and have a good time with the thing. Yeah. I left the market yesterday And on the way in, this woman was sitting in her car to ground this with her son, and her son had a mental disability, and he was about 20, and they had gotten some food in the market, and they were eating it outside in their car. And I got out and I said, hey, how you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. We got in a short combo. I went inside, I got my stuff, I came out, and then she leaned out of her window, she said, thank you so much for being so sweet to us. I said, are you kidding? Thank you. You know, you made my day. And she said, you know, people are reluctant to talk to my son anyways. She says, but right now, people have been so distant and not saying hello, and it's making us feel so alienated. And she was saying that obviously they're eating their lunch in their car. And I thought, wow, that's really a scary place for the world to go into. Yeah, and if we don't pay attention to it, you know, I think that the beauty and wickedness in pathology is that we don't see it, right? It's in our shadow, right? In other words, Nazis don't know that they're Nazis. Nazis think that they are loving their social group, their familial group, right? I'm going to protect my son and my father and my mother and my brother and my sister, but everyone else out there is wrong, right? If we feel like that, that's the Nazi mentality. The moment we step outside and say, hey, wait a second, those people, what they're doing over there, it's different, but maybe they're right, you know? Maybe there's something there that's important to them, and how do we acknowledge both spaces? And at this juncture, right, and I think this is the crux of the thing, we are evolving. The beauty here is that we're at this point where we are making a decision how we're going to evolve metaphysiologically, right? In other words, in the noosphere, in the cosmosphere, right? We're making that decision by how we respond to this, because this is changing the world as we know it. Whether this is man-made or not doesn't matter. Let's say it is, let's say it isn't. Let's say it's not. Even if it's not, it's man-makeable, right? And so that means that there's someone somewhere that says, in terms of hostage negotiation, this is how the world responds if we put this out there. I can take this thing in a vial, drop it anywhere in the world, and it proliferates. And this is what the world does. It shuts down, and all of a sudden everyone hates their politician, whether the politician's liberal or conservative. All of a sudden rich people are telling other people, wash your hands and stay home. And poor people are saying, well, what about me? I need a job. And I mean, in other words, whatever the fragmentation is, our response to this is dictating how we're going to collectively, right, as a species, move forward metaphysiologically. And I think the opportunity here and the win here is for us to be able to acknowledge that thing and say, hey, everyone is right, even if I don't like it, you know, even if I don't like it. You know, if there's a surfer out there and he's getting fined $1,000, maybe there's something there, you know, maybe there's a way that we can make this thing work. You know, I don't want to get it. My mother's sick, or my grandmother, whatever the thing is vulnerable, or I have a friend who's dying, who's ill. Let's acknowledge that. Let's handle that. That's the job of the doctor. That's the job of the biologist. That's the job of etc. And then let's also be guided in the other ways with the masters, as you say, we're masters serving masters, respecting where the leadership is. I think that the default position, the impulse, you know, that we come into this world, we come out of non-duality into this world as an entity, and it's this beautiful, spectacular thing, right? We come here for recognition, to be able to have intimacy, right? We come from nothing and we separate into separate beings and entities. And the joy in having eye contact, whether it's with our dog or with the stars or with another human being, is to say, oh my God, there it is. There's the miracle, right? There's this beautiful, spectacular thing occurring, right? And the impulse always when we wake up in the morning is egoic, because all of a sudden we're asleep, and then the world comes into being, the sheets come into being, whatever is around us comes into being, and then it's here, right? And so the impulse is to feel separate immediately, yeah? And that's the most dangerous thing, yeah? And then people will then oftentimes, especially right now, go online and then just respond to, out of that impulse, out of a survival, evolutionary survival mechanism, respond to that, and they'll retweet or anger or whatever, say, hey, do you believe this? And of course, everyone who already agrees with the person is going to support that, and that further draws the divide. In other words, the problem isn't out there, the problem's right here. The problem is, how do I respond online? What am I saying? What am I interacting with? How am I responding to that? And the greatest, you know, the value in relationship, what we have that's similar between us is what brings us together. But the value in relationship is what's different about us. That's the opportunity for growth. So if I really want to grow, then I look out and I say, wow, this is so radical what this person's doing. I want to get into the groove of that. I want to understand that. There's A, if it's eliciting a response, there's an opportunity for me to learn. And B, if it's so different and so unfamiliar, there's also an opportunity for me to grow. That's our opportunity right now, metaphysiologically, to evolve. And it's every individual's personal responsibility to the degree that they want it. It's the very impulse to be here on this call today, right? It's this ultimate omega point pull to evolve into love, right?
Sure. Sebastian, I would love to go, once we grok or fully become the understanding that how each one of our actions affects the whole, where can we find our own responsibility, and where are the first places that we can look?
Say again?
Where can we find our own responsibility, and where do we look for that?
Yeah, beautiful. The difference between self-egoic and selflessness, right? And it's just looking at whatever elicits a response, right? Whatever elicits a response, that's the teacher right there. And that's the responsibility then right there. If I want to go online, I can't believe this guy said this, pop, pop, pop. I can't believe this woman said this about the blood of Jesus, pop, pop, pop. That's the problem. The responsibility comes in, where am I having a response elicited? Even if it's in a relationship, right? If you have a child and your child yells, you're the worst parent ever and I want to see you again. All right, obviously you're going to take a minute because that's your child. But how about doing the same thing online? If a politician said something, okay, maybe this politician's foolish or stupid to me, right? Whoever the politician is or the individual. But wait a second, what's eliciting the response and how can I contribute to the solution versus just criticizing the, what's occurring? I.e., I drove by, I live in Los Angeles, and I drove by the Culver City Stairs the other day, and I had seen that it was shut down. It was roped off. There were police cars, sirens. And I saw at the bottom of the hill a woman, and she was getting in an argument, right, with her daughter, and they were really at it, and they were fighting. The daughter was very young, 9, 10, 11 years old, right? And I thought, and I had a strong emotional reaction to it, watching it. I felt heartbroken. And I was looking at it, and I thought, I have an office here in Los Angeles for integral cognitive therapy, right? In psychology. And I was thinking about what I'm hearing from individuals and what I'm hearing from psychologists, that the pressure to stay home with families right now, that there are individuals out there within 5 miles from wherever any single one of us is sitting right now, that what's being compounded is so severe that it is far worse than any other illness. In other words, I have a dear friend of mine who is a psychologist who has a client who there are kids, let's say, who are being abused by their parents or by their foster parents, let's say. And now they love going to school, and now they're stuck in this hell, in this house. Right? Or let's take another scenario. You have a man and a woman or a couple of any type, and somebody's cheated on someone, and they're trying to be forgiven. And there's 2 children also in the family. And now they have nowhere to go and get out, right? So this is occurring in every neighborhood of every city, in every country, all over the world right now. And that is like shaking a soda can and then putting a lid on it, that it's going to pop. It's going to create, if we moving in that direction, it's going to create social unrest, right? In other words, we have to find another way to move forward versus only looking at the biology, right? This biology is very real and it's very important. The physical distancing is important, toning the curve down is important, but that's only one aspect of it. And the fear is, and the beauty of what's occurring here now collectively with all of us being here now, is that we're starting to examine, people are coming out and starting to examine what else is going on here, and we need to pay attention to that, we need to address that. And I think in the very nature of just being present in this, right, we start to bring this into the collective noosphere, where this starts to forge and change the vernacular in our day-to-day lives when we all are at the market today or tomorrow or the next day.
I love that. One of the things I wanted to ask you is to consciously choose your spirit evolution, because what you referenced earlier is like, this is a time where we can evolve beyond what we probably could even imagine at this moment. What are the practices, philosophies, or moments that you've given yourself to really allow that to happen? And how do you do it?
I think, there are a number of different practices, right? I would say like a contemplative practice, like even in Aurobindo, he wasn't known to be a meditator, but was just writing. Yeah, and I think that what we're choosing to intake from media, you know, what movies we're choosing to watch, or shows we're choosing to watch, or books we're choosing to read, right, is definitely is going to form how we're responding emotionally every day, how we're interacting, how we're engaging emotionally. It's already setting the stage, right? You put on a tuxedo, you go outside, you feel differently, you interact differently. You put on a football uniform, you go outside, you feel differently, you interact differently, right? So what we're wearing emotionally and cognitively every single day is having a huge impact. You wake up in the morning, what are you doing first? That's going to absolutely impact the rest of the day. Obviously, there are a number of meditative practices, and just by the nature of everyone on this call is probably have some period of years or an amount of time, right, in a certain meditative practice. And then I think just on a basic functional level, just in terms of what's our attitudinal posture, is to say, okay, is this adventure or is this fear, right? And then, and you think about just the tiny difference between those two things, what that opens up. If I said to you, listen, I'm going to take you somewhere. It's going to be freezing. It's going to be so cold, you're going to get frostbite. You might lose fingers and hands, and you're not going to eat for 2 or 3 months, you know, just very, very, very little. You're going to have a hard time breathing, and you probably run like a 20% chance of death, right? You will go kicking and screaming the other direction and push anyone out of the way to avoid that thing, right? It sounds horrible. But if I said to you, listen, we're going to go climb Mount Everest, and if we get to the top, it may kill us. But once we get to the top, if we make it there, it will transform us. You're going to say, everyone get out of the way, I'm going there, right? Right? And that's the only difference, right, between fear and adventure. That's the only difference between love, right, and myopia and closing off, right? That's where the miracle exists. As a lot of people on this call, I'm sure, are very familiar with the Course in Miracles. You know, the idea is that, you know, the gap between the miracle is the gap between fear and love, you know, and it's just that. It's that fundamental, right? It's that fundamental. You know, when I think about, you know, this terminology, right, that I think is being used in a new age way that gets misinterpreted a lot about were these spiritual beings having this human experience, it means exactly that this life is holographic in a lot of ways. And the beautiful thing, right, about a hologram is that you change just one little perspective and you see an entirely different view of the world, right? And this idea in a sort of very Joseph Campbell way about the myth and the hero, and this hero that lives inside every single one of us every single day, is to walk through the forest and go down the darkest path, right? The path that speaks to us, right? And even if we look at that physically as an analogy, if you're walking in the dark, past a very dark space on a trail, and you look and there's nothing, and let's say you're with a friend, and then all of a sudden you see a gap somewhere there. And you say, oh my God, let's go down there. And your friend might say, that's nuts, there's no path there. And you say, no, there is, right? That's the one. It's scary and it's lonely and only you can take it, right? And we're all with this unique fingerprint, you know, being called. And what is it that we're being called by? It's not our egoic self, but it's this omega point pull to evolve, ultimately back into non-duality, right? But the game is to be here now in this duality, to say, I'm going to get a little scared of losing myself, the me that I know here and now. But that me that I know here and now is not as important as the me that is in all of us, the I, in other words, like with, you know, as Ramana Maharshi, for me, is a big influence on me, spoke so well, the I behind the I, right? The witness beyond, you know, in other words, the one that there can be no dagger put in that one, the eternal you. So if we can embody that I right now, then we become fearlessness, right? Then we're at the market and I say, okay, let's say this, you know, a person is coughing, they're interacting, and I say, okay, I want to acknowledge the biological being. But it's not as important to me to stay alive and not be sick as it is to not be free. So I don't want to make that decision for everyone else and say, okay, look, everyone, you know, go out and mingle. And it's not. I want to acknowledge this biological experience because everyone wants to stay alive. But for me, and for most people, like we think about what is the evolution, you know, for ourselves as human beings, the history of humanity is the history of the aspirations towards freedom and liberation. And then ultimately through that freedom and liberation, the choice for communion, both the male drive and the female drive, both the in-breath and the out-breath. right? In other words, living from that transcendent space, that collective space, saying, okay, you're coughing, you're sick, you're ill. I would rather run the risk of being affected or being hurt in any circumstance than not being contributory to someone else's survival, to someone else's joy, to opening up, right? And I think that, the unfortunately, or fortunately or beautifully, the labyrinth that we live in is that the base of wherever we're at is always what we're going to see first. In other words, we wake up in the morning, it's the ego speaking first and speaking loudest. We go online, this is not, this is the lowest common denominator, right? Hence what's popular in our popular culture, right? Popular culture is our enemy. It's our enemy, and we have to diffuse that thing, acknowledge it and look at it and say, this is an aspect of the world that we live in. Don't participate and lift that up, right? Use it as a mechanism for transcendence, for bringing us together, for seeing the other in the ways that are the most uncomfortable to me, right? That's the mechanism for growth. That's a mechanism for communion, right?
Can you give us your interpretation of the self, just so we can better identify when we're identifying too much with it?
Beautiful. So, I think of self in terms of, if I think about a human being a pattern of intelligence or a pattern of wisdom, and I think about what are the aspects of the self, right? Gross, subtle, causal, or mind, body, soul, spirit, right? Or even on a day-to-day basis, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, holding these number of different perspectives, right? And like in any, if we have a sort of a meditative practice and you sit there and you're just focusing on the breath, and then all of a sudden you're just focusing on that sensation, and we start to lose the self. Or like when you fall asleep in the middle of the night or day or whatever the time is, and you are aware of what's going on in the room, and then all of a sudden the sheets are no longer there, the pillow's no longer there, and you start to fade away. And we all know that moment when it drops. All of a sudden the eyes are heavy and we feel this drop, right? And the physical world is no longer there. All of a sudden you're on the beach or you're walking with your father, but it's not really your father, it's your dog from 5th grade or whatever the thing is, that you're living in this world, and none of this world matters. None of it exists, whether you have legs or arms or not, right? Whatever's going on in the world, none of it is there. And yet, there's still a very clear sense of I-ness, right? In that world. There's still this very sense that I was dreaming. I exist in that space, right? That's subtle. And then causal, formless sleep, there's still a sense of I. Even though it's deep, formless sleep, there's still this I-ness sense, right? And if you go back and you think about this, what is this I, this me, this I that I feel right now, being here now, all collectively, right? And then you think back about yesterday, or you think back about 10 years, or you think back about being 6 years old, right? And when you're 6 years old, you're doing something, and you can grab a moment from when you're 6 years old, and it can be so specific, and you have this sense of I-ness back then that is the exact same I-ness that you have here and now, that something in you has changed enormously, and yet something is exactly the same. Now, here's the kickoff. Here's the step-off point. If we go back before that, right, which is like stepping in causal and then totally transcended, back into the womb, and then before that, right, and then before that, right, 1,000 years ago, there was a being that sat here now and had that same sense of I-ness, right? There's a sentient being in every existence throughout time. Take it further back. Before any biological beings. This I-ness is consciousness. This is the self. This is the big capital S, self. That's the spiritual being having a human experience, right? And that's not holding it up here. I've read a lot of books and I've done a lot of the practices, but I'm living the thing. What does it mean? What's my Zen practice? What's my contemplative practice? It means that I really am okay dying. I am okay. If it happens later today, in other words, and I to take the next chapter in that, I think is to say, what's the Zen practice, right? And it's to say, well, okay, if you were told that you've got a month left to live, or a week left to live, or let's say you've got 10 minutes left to live, what would you do? What would you do? Would you call a bunch of people, right? Would you meditate? Would you get drunk and high? Would you have sex? What would you do? right? Or would you just continue doing whatever you're doing right now? I just continue doing whatever I'm doing right now, right? Because there is no other world to enter into that's urgent if you're really living on forever, if you really are the transcendent being. But if we're living from the egoic space, I've only got 10 minutes left to live. Oh my God, make sure my funeral goes like this, put this on my tombstone, invite all these people, I need this person to speak, like, you know, oh my God, I need to have sex, I need to like make some hot coffee, I need to like, you know, whatever the thing is, you know, right? But I'm saying like, let's enjoy all that. Let's get into the groove of that whole thing, yeah. And then I want to put one more stamp on that, if I could. It's to say what's the groove of the game, you know, and what's worth the price of the candle, right? Like we all know as kids, we've all had that experience. You're playing Risk or Monopoly or whatever the board game is, yeah, and you get into it. And in order to make the game real, you have to really get into it. You have to really follow the rules. You have to say this is important, and I want to win, and that's what makes the game so fun. But then there's always a point growing up, right, which is the value in learning in games, where we take it too seriously, and then there's a fight, and then the game's no longer fun. Right, I have to win, and then we realize, oh my God, it was, you know, and the next thing you know, like somebody's grounded and somebody's crying and somebody's got a scratched face and we're not having a good time. And we're seeing that. That's what's happening here. This game, this thing, this pandemic is giving us that opportunity to look at ourselves and say, look, let's really get into the thing. You know, let's feel the pain and let's feel the joy. And let's also not get so lost in it that we don't remember what's really going on. We're going to evolve no matter what. So let's really get into the groove of the thing and saying, hey, you know, it's okay, right? I think we have to let go to hold on, right? If we're climbing, we open our hand and we risk falling. But if we don't climb, right? The best in-breath comes only after the deepest out-breath, right? And there's an effortlessness, right? Which is the Zen practice to doing anything, whether it's orgasm or using the bathroom or kissing or swallowing or signing your name. If we try too hard, the signature is it's no good. If we kiss too hard, it's no good. We just do it. We just do it, right? What we're seeing right now collectively is we're trying too hard to beat this thing. Let's try. It's very real. It's very, very serious. Right? But let's not try too hard. Let's not close in things that are fundamentally integral to the way that we exist and what is the purpose of what we're doing here, right?
This is where I'd want to be if I needed this information before I died. So, well said. I think that was my, when I would prep for my first speech, I'm like, okay, if I had 5 minutes to live, what would I say? And I'd be like, I would say nothing. Thank you for that really beautiful explanation. That's like profoundly invaluable information. And the way you put it is very beautiful. We only have a couple of minutes left, but I really want to touch on not only your projects, but specifically Grace and Grit. I watched the trailer. I got teary-eyed. And I see how you infuse your deepest level of love and spirituality into your projects that does ground this wisdom and allows us to kind of like understand these topics. So where can we find it? Maybe a little bit more information on it as well.
Thanks so much. It's Grace and Grit. There's the website. I think it's on the page, graceandgrit.net, or you can just look up the teaser online. We haven't married the film yet to a distributor. We want to marry it to a distributor that will support it the best. And, you know, my interest in taking on that film, a lot of people tried to make that film for me, was really that I read the book. It's by Ken Wilber, one of the most widely read and translated scholastic authors in America, 30 books in 30 languages. It's brilliant, right? And many people around the world call him, you know, one of the most brilliant people who's ever lived, from, you know, all the greatest thinkers today. And when I read the book, it rocked me, and I was devastated, and yet I was somehow inspired. And it's pertinent and dovetails exactly back into the theme of this conversation. It was the me that wants to love and feel love that was devastated, and yet it was the I beyond that was so inspired by that story of transcendent love, right? Selfless love. And so I try to articulate that in this movie, that the plot is very simple. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, there's challenges, they fall apart, they come back together, and there's this reconciliation. But the reconciliation is not for the personal I in so much as it is for the eternal I. Yeah. And that's a story. I think you'll gather that from the teaser if you take a look at it.
Yeah, you'll definitely feel it. You'll feel it. Sebastian, I know everyone can find you Instagram, Sebastian Seigal 1. Definitely follow up, give him a follow. He has, you know, many offerings. And where else should they? Facebook?
No, that's good. That or Twitter is great.
Okay, cool. Okay, brother. Thank you.
So much for putting this together. Thank you all so much for having me here. I have great respect and admiration for everyone who's choosing to engage their heart and their mind in this very important discussion that will determine ultimately how will the ride be. Will it be a scary roller coaster, or will it be a spectacular adventure up Mount Everest?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Well, we'll see more of you, definitely.
Aloha. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sebastian, for your beautiful wisdom and for taking the time today to share. And I heard many good things, and now they're all showing themselves to be true. So many blessings to you. And I'm excited. Next, I'm going to be interviewing the incredible Maejor, and he's a musician that's now been bridging the worlds of frequency healing with pop music most recently, whereas before that he was known all over for this many different genres of music as a producer and an artist, and even got nominated for several different Grammys for his music. And some of his top music is this, like Justin Bieber and some other like amazing artists like Martin Garrix as well, and all the top artists in South America and Brazil, Colombia. And it's exciting to see when somebody from the mainstream world comes and then brings the spiritual element and the healing frequency into what the people that need it the most, you know, which is like the mainstream people who are listening to like music that's on a bad frequency, and that's like programming their consciousness. So it's like reprogramming the consciousness of humanity through pop music. Really, really beautiful. So anyway, hopefully Maejor will come on here right in like the next second or so.
Come on here.
Oh, Maejor, hey!
Hey, what's up?
What up?
By the way, everyone's talk so far has been really awesome. I learned a lot. So thank you guys for coordinating this.
Yeah, wow, cool. We didn't know if you were watching, but thank you so much for watching all of the other ones. And
you didn't even know I was here.
Yeah, how do you have like incognito? Still. Anyway, so basically, I just want to start out by thanking you for taking the time to come on here today. And, you know, I feel that the oneness actually was my first conversation with you is about oneness. And that's how we met. Do you remember that video with the dolphin and the dog that were swimming in the ocean together? I don't know if you remember that.
That sounds like one of your videos, though, for sure.
Yeah. And anyway, I had shared it with this woman that I know, Isis Valverde.
Oh yes, I remember this. And you were trying to save the planet even back then.
I'm always doing that. That's like my MO.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that.
But you know, it was beautiful. So that was oneness, was our first connection, and then all the way to this moment. And you even were the one that encouraged me to go to the Oneness Temple. And,
that is true. That is true. Yes. And also to get the book Oneness from Russia.
Yeah, it was like the whole thing. So anyway, here we are, the Oneness Festival, and I'd love for you to share, because you have had so many interesting experiences throughout your journey to oneness and the feeling of that. And I'd love to hear your perspective as well on what you think oneness is and how it can really impact people's lives and the world. A lot of questions. Okay.
Sure. So you say first you want me to start with what do I think oneness is?
Yes.
Oneness for me is just the idea that everything it comes from one. Everything is the same. Everything's from the same source, and people have many different names for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's another word for that, you think?
I think like I said, source, creator, God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're all God. We're all one. Same.
Everything's one. Everything, I look at it kind of like an ocean. We're all drops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you feel in terms of music? Because I feel there's many ways you can enter into oneness, but definitely meditation, breath, and music are just like.
Yes. So for me, music. So for me, my journey started when I was producing music for pop artists, and I produced music. I was in a tour for the artists, a really good artist I produced, and we were in South America, and there was hundreds of thousands of people in the audience, and I recognized the power that they were all singing the words at the same time. Everyone was on the same frequency, at the same vibe. And these people didn't even speak English as their first language. So they were able to get, the music was able to put everyone literally in the same moment. And that's when I realized the true power. And that's when I started studying the sound and the way that we can help, help uplift people through the sound, through the energy of the music. And we started studying the mantras. We started studying the monks who do chanting. They do different, their mantras is a certain frequency for different parts of the day to change their states of consciousness. We started studying brainwaves, what those frequencies are, how to affect those, how sound can affect those, binaural beats, everything like this, and figuring out ways that we can help uplift people through the sound of the music and put it in pop songs in any style. So for me, the music is a way to lift people up.
That's so beautiful. Actually, it reminds me when I was at the Oneness Temple, and they played a video and they talked about the power of the Fibonacci sequence and how, and you talk about this too, and I want you to share. But in this Oneness Temple speech that they were giving, they were talking about how there's a specific kind of bird in India, and it's the only bird that can fly over Mount Everest because that's really, really high and really far and very cold. Most birds die. And so these birds figured out the system of how to get their formation into the Pythagorean, like a Fibonacci sequence,
Wow.
exactly, so that this formation actually allows them to be uplifted like many times faster and higher than normal, and to be able to have endurance to cross over the Mount Everest in the winter.
Yes, whereas patterns that you see all throughout nature. Fibonacci spiral is one, pi is one. Many of the pyramids in Egypt are based using this. And this is also present in patterns of frequency and sound. And so, it's all connected. And there's a lot of things that show signs of some type of pattern. That's really cool. The earth also has this natural frequency, which is, Schumann resonance 7.83, and can be measured. It's not like just something people have in their head, like an idea. It's like you can look at it from a scientific perspective or from a spiritual perspective and see truth.
Yeah, and I love that. That's why, and you can tell me what you feel about this. Like when you are in nature, I feel this is how we can really bring ourselves into the best possible vibration, like resonance with nature, which is that what you were talking about, kind of describing the Schumann?
Yes. That's one of the things they say is by, many people in here, I'm sure already know, they say by like taking your shoes off or making contact and walking in nature, you help ground yourself electrically. And that also helps you connect with the resonance of the earth's natural frequency. And that's why you feel good, why you feel relaxed when you're in those environments, why the beach feels so good. One of it is, also the sounds, the vibe, and then it's energetically it's a different space, and we can connect to that in many ways without having to necessarily be there.
Yeah, I love that. So happy to be out here in nature right now. So tell us a little bit about your upcoming album, Frequency, because I'd like to hear about it.
So basically I signed a recording contract with Universal Music, and we're going to do the first mainstream album that uses frequency healing. So I did this entire album in 432 hertz. And it's a frequency that has never been used in mainstream music. I don't know if there's any musicians here, but basically everyone, since the Music Standardization Act came in the 1900s, early 1900s, it made all music the same frequency mandatory, and that's 440. You can search it if you want to check it out, but it's basically, people don't even know. Even it doesn't matter what genre, doesn't matter if it's hip hop, doesn't matter if it's country or electronic. They literally have a standardized frequency that all of the artists use, and we started to explore what happens when you go outside of that. What happens when you bring these frequencies that are intention, like we talk about intention a lot, and that's a part of oneness, I believe, and also in like many practices, but we brought the intention of, what if we put these frequencies into the sound that people are familiar with, that the masses are familiar with. I didn't want to make like any yoga or spa music because there's already plenty of great music like that. I wanted to make something you could hear in the club, in the radio, and everywhere, normal music, but on a subtle level, it's actually They call it healing music, but what I like to say is it's just bringing your body more harmonic. Just like when we eat the right foods, when we sleep the right way, our body has a natural intelligence, infinite intelligence to help us heal. And so that's the same thing when you're getting the right frequencies, taking care of yourself, your body heals itself. And so that's one of the visions that we have. We're gonna launch that in next month. It's super exciting. Yeah, it's called Frequency. Volume 1, Frequency. Then Volume 2 will be Energy. And Volume 3 will be Vibration. And that's from, anyone know where that's from? I don't know if someone knows who talks about.
Einstein.
Nope, that's not Einstein.
Who was it? So
I wonder if someone knows that. Who said, if you wish to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration? I bet someone knows that.
Tesla.
Tesla said that, yeah, Tesla said that.
People quote Einstein with that, though. Did you know that? I've seen
no, I didn't know that. Maybe, but
yeah.
they also when they asked Einstein how does it feel to be the smartest person in the world, he said, I don't know, ask Tesla.
Yeah.
Swear he said that. You can look
that. No, it's true.
Yeah. Tesla is the biggest inspiration for me. Yeah, but yeah.
I love that. So Universal approved all 3 of those albums?
No. So I'm only doing, well, this is a secret meeting. So like, this is just with us. But I'm only doing one album with those guys. And then we're building our own company. We have a great, it's already built. It's a media and, someone knew that was Tesla. It's a media and energy company. So we're going to launch music in that way. But right now, it's great to be partners with Universal and help build our brand and, help get other artists on this too, because because before I was behind the scenes and producing for great artists. So now I'm gonna get a chance they're gonna hear it and, I'm be able to give them that sound too and help other people, like lift people up, because it doesn't change their music, it doesn't change their words. They can say whatever they want, but now it's just being mindful about the frequency. So it's like, for an artist, that's great. Imagine you're a painter and someone says, here's new colors to paint, you're gonna be like, this is great. So the artists have been really excited about it. A lot of big artists have been reaching out to me who I've collabed with already. And I actually did one on Justin Bieber's TikTok. He came out with something on TikTok.
Oh, I heard that.
It was a trend. It was a trend, crazy. Millions of people.
They're doing the dance. I remember too.
They're doing this dance, but I put the feeling frequency in that, so that was looping on people's ears.
I love
millions
that.
of times. I don't know if people know what TikTok is, but that's like a site that loops videos and kids dance.
Yeah.
It was looping.
That was so cool. Actually,
literally putting that frequency to people, and people were saying, "Oh, this is helping me," and they don't even know. I didn't say it. I didn't say it like I said it on my site, but like the people who are fans of Justin, they don't know. They just like it and they feel good, and it helps them. I'm sure people were having a rough time because of everything that's going on now. So I don't know. It's exciting.
I love it. I think that's great. And is that video that you showed me that hasn't been released yet, is that going to be on
all my music going forward is going to do this. I'm not going to have any
but
music.
Is that one going to be on the album coming out, the Frequency album?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh, I really liked that one so much. That's cool. You should release it like Beyonce
did. We did that
with
one with United Nations.
What's that?
We did that one with United Nations to help refugees. It's really awesome. Those guys were
really?
It was such a beautiful time. Yeah.
Like, what is
we filmed it in Brazil, Sao Paulo.
Oh, cool. I love it. Well, anyway, I'm really happy about getting to see all the new music, and maybe we can make a song together, because I sing mantras mostly, but I have also other songs that I would love to share in high vibration.
Really? I got to hear that.
Yeah, I'll sing for you. Maybe not right now.
But
if you want, we can do it now.
What you got? Yo, here you go. All right, let's go. It's just shot.
Should I say? I can say something. Oh, there's this one song.
Much.
There's one song, actually, it's a gratitude song, and I saw your thank you video, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, yeah, it's so good that you put that out. I think it was like around Thanksgiving or something, right?
I did, yes. My manager Sarah had a great idea to put it out.
You're like, thank your mom, you thanked your dad.
Thank my dad, thank my family. Gotta thank everybody, Gratitude is the key,
Yeah, that's so cool. Anyway, so there's a song that I sing that's also like thank you song, but it's a different one. And so it goes like this. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful day. this beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends.
Wow. Oh, that was fire. Wow.
You like that? Okay.
Everyone give a round of applause. Wow. That was crazy. I love that.
Yeah, I'm glad you
for
love
my
that.
friends.
It's actually long. It's like 5 minutes, but I just sang a little piece of it. It's like a good. When I teach yoga, I always have all my students sing that in the beginning of the class.
That's funny. One thing that I'm doing with pop, and this is the last thing I'll say about music. One thing I'm doing now is I'm making the song so short. I'm making the songs like 2 minutes because the attention span is different. I'm making them so short. People hear it, like boom. If they want to hear it again, they got to play it again and get another stream.
That's smart. I love this plan. That's good. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. And we're gonna make some songs. And Trista's got some songs she wants to do. So, and she wrote a lot of spoken word poetry. I have also some spoken word poetry. I love it. It'd be so fun.
I can't wait to hear.
Okay, so we're excited about your new album. Let's see, what else? Let me ask you, in terms of your experience of oneness, because this is something that a lot of people might question, like, what is it? What do you feel like, if you could describe the feeling?
Yeah, I think for me, the best time I feel that is when I'm making music. I feel like I'm absent. I feel like the best way I could describe it is like I'm a flute. And I'm not making the sound. The sound is just passing through me. And I'm the shape that's holding it. So I feel like that's a good visualization of oneness.
That's so beautiful. You know, one of the things I've known a lot of musicians in my life, and this is how because I'm very, I feel in terms of feelings, energy, and vision. So I'm like very like energized, like in that way. But when I have musician friends, I feel like you guys speak a different language. It's like you can see an invisible realm of musical notes. Is this true? Does your mind kind of pick things up in that way? Maybe not visually, but like the energy.
Not really.
Like,
no,
how
not
do
really.
you just create?
I don't see notes. I don't see notes really, because I don't know notes mostly. I just go from my ear. I hear the song already. I hear it like a radio. That's why I feel it's a gift, a blessing, because I hear it like in another station.
Wow. So it just comes to you, like, channel this like music. Yep. And you're like,
and
yeah,
it's
that's
just playing in my head, and then I say it out loud, and the people are like, "Oh, I love that," and I'm like, oh, "Okay, great, you guys like that?" Cool. So then I know it's not it's just coming from somewhere else. That's the best ones. If I try to calculate it or something, I don't know. It's not. Yeah. I don't know.
I like, you know, it's funny. So one of the things I think you do really well is you get people looped into your hook or whatever. Like you'll have like something that repeats a lot in the song.
Yeah, I learned from producing pop. You got to do that. People need to hear
mind
it.
Control.
I mean, repetition. It's just like, think about it. Like when you're a kid and you do that, and you do like, they show you TV shows. They show them twice. Like Blue's Clues, they show the same thing twice. They show like you hear it again. You know, but the repetition helps something get in your head for sure. Helps you remember it, just like your note cards when you're studying. You keep flipping your note cards over and over. So yeah, we do that with the music too.
Yeah, that's why it's so powerful when you make those words, because there are not that many of them. Positive and affirming, you know, in terms
mantra.
of
That's what a mantra.
Like a mantra. Yeah, exactly. Yep. All music should essentially be in that like intention that it's. And a mantra.
because of their repetition, they go into another state. Their consciousness shifts. Yeah. Because of the repetition, so it shows you the power of that.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love that. I loved when you shared the story about when you were there with Justin and there was like 300,000 or 200, like bunch of people in the audience all singing together. And you mentioned that at the beginning of this. Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah. That was awesome.
So let me ask you, if you could envision one moment where that same audience, or even bigger, 500, 1 million, who knows, people all physically in the same place together singing one mantra, what would that be for you?
One Love of Bob Marley. I love that song.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. You know, it'd be a cool one, a One Love remix with like Martin Garrix in the back or something, kind of like how they just did High Love. Don't you think? Like a
I have to hear it. I'm sure that'd be great. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my God, it would be bomb. Let's see if he'll do it. One love. Like an EDM, one love. I really like Tygo too.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Oh my God, he changed my life with that remix of Whitney Houston coming out of the woodwork.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Isn't that nice? Like 10 years later, imagine you can create something and then 10 years you're gone and people are still like celebrating your beautiful gift.
Well, yeah, they're great. That moment, that energy they were putting out right then was powerful. And that's timeless. When you make something art like that, when you make art that's classic, that's timeless. That's gonna always be there. Thoughts on Kanye's gospel album? That was dope. I like that one. No. Sorry, I didn't like the gospel album. I like the album with the choir. The album with Kanye with the choir. That's a different album. That's called Sunday Service. That one is crazy. People didn't really it didn't have any hit songs from it, but it's just crazy recording of a gospel choir. The gospel album, I thought it was okay.
That's so interesting. He performed with a choir. I haven't even been listening to this, so I'll have to check it out.
No, it's a whole choir. He did an album.
Like a legit choir from a church?
Yeah, beautiful gospel choir, like 100 people. It sounds unbelievable. The singers are so good. I think that's something he was so far ahead of his time with that. That's people gonna hear that later. And be like, whoa, that's crazy. People don't even understand what happened right there. That was too much.
Yeah, choir is so powerful to be able to unite that many voices and make it sound sonic.
That many great singers too, yes, and all in harmony. Exactly, that's powerful because the human voice is. That instrument can't be duplicated like by anything. Each human voice is unique. You know, each one is unique.
Yeah, and it's amazing that they could do that. And then with gospel in there, it's just uplifting. You know, it doesn't matter your religion, but it's interesting about gospel. I mean, any kind of spiritual music is generally going to be uplifting.
Absolutely. I think anytime someone is singing to God, you feel it's a different feeling that comes from it, you know, whether that's gospel music or kirtan or anything like that.
Yeah, totally. I love kirtan. You know, I've always been singing mantras. It changed my life. You know, actually, I work with this Harvard medical doctor. He talks about how they've done 20 years of research showing how meditation and breath work and mantras heals your brain. And it, even like for people with autism or all these different disorders, it starts to awaken different lobes of the brain. So you have access to more of your consciousness through these practices. So I think that it's people don't understand like the power of something so simple, but once you get into it, I feel like it changes everybody's life.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
You ever chant mantras? I've never heard if you do.
I have chanted mantras before. It's not like a part of my daily thing, but no, I have before. I like mantras.
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I like it. It's cool. We did that in the Egypt. We did that in the pyramid, in the Great Pyramid. We did mantras.
What kind of mantras did they do?
They did some mantras.
Nice.
It was cool. And it was it's powerful when you get a group of people coming together like that. And anyway, it's powerful. The sum is greater than the parts.
Yeah, totally. So beautiful. Even by yourself though, because it's like just any kind of singing is so good for your energy, you know, just shifts you so completely. I remember one time
when we dance or sing, we go into the present moment. That's the only place you can be really. If you're going to be on beat, you know, if you're going to be in the moment, like in that vibe, you got to be present, which is one of the gifts that music provides us. Even when we're listening to hear it, it only happens right then. Music doesn't happen in the past or future, so it makes you be right there, which is a gift. That's why I think music is so valuable. When I was a kid, when I got into the music industry, I was 18 years old, and I was just kind of like lucky and blessed, and I couldn't understand why people were paying me for music. It didn't make sense. I was just like, this is unfair. Like, there's people working hard jobs, hammering nails. And then I started to see what music means to people, and I started to understand. And that's when I started taking a little more serious and like really wanted to learn how to maximize, do the best with the opportunity I have.
When you got started, because I know you got started like super early in college or right out of college or something.
Yeah.
What was it? You were just like already knowing this is what you wanted to do? How did that happen?
No. I was just making beats. Producing hip hop beats. I would go. I didn't know how to play any instruments. I would sample from vinyl records, and I put up my beats on MySpace. This during the time was MySpace. I got discovered
Yes,
by
to
the industry.
MySpace.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh my God, I remember MySpace. That's so cool.
Yes, I was living in Detroit. I didn't know anything about the music industry. I had no idea about that. I just put my beats in MySpace, and I got discovered. It was cool.
Oh,
I
that's
started
so
coming
cool.
to LA, Atlanta, all these places, making music. I just got into the industry.
Wow, I didn't realize that's how it happened. That's so cool. It was like destiny.
Yeah,
They're like, all right,
yeah.
plucked you out of the middle of nowhere.
Blessing, yeah, blessing.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that happened for the world, and I'm really grateful for your time. I want to give people a little bit of time to ask you some questions. So if anybody has any questions for Maejor, just post it in the chat, and we're happy to answer those. So can you do me a favor and open where they post the chat? You see where it is? On the bottom. Yeah.
Nice earrings with the feathers.
Oh, thank you. You know, this is actually a head thing, but it's made by these Amazonian shaman, and it's from the birds in the Amazon. Isn't that cool?
That's cool. That's really cool.
Okay, we got a bunch of questions for you. So let's start with one. Trista, what you got?
Let's do it.
Got Trista right here.
Hey, Trista, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Hi.
Your talk was so informative.
Did you see it?
I did.
Oh, good.
I thought it was great.
Thank you. Did Shane do good? He was nervous.
Yeah. Shane was.
Yeah.
He did great.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a question?
Okay.
Because we only have a few minutes.
Such a pioneer in lifting the spirit. Please bring more artists to understand the power of music to heal. J.A. go also sharing the importance of healing frequency. You should collaborate. It's not really a question.
Yeah, we only have like 1 minute, so see if there's any questions.
Okay,
if we don't have.
Someone said 375 hertz. No, the music on this album is 432 hertz.
That's important. I really believe that
432.
People need to know the exact one. I think it's something that it's
exact.
And
I'm gonna put it on the titles of the song. So I'm also starting that I want to make that standard. I want people to, as it grows, remember. Yeah, I was first. I want people to start writing the frequency and the title, such and such. So in my songs, it says the title and then it says the frequency. So you'll see it, 432.
That's so cool.
Do I use sound bowls? No, I don't. I make it like mainstream pop music. I don't want it to sound like I don't even want to give it away that it's anything sound healing. It's like a secret.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And is there anything that you would like to share, since we just have 2 more minutes, and that you'd like to talk about?
Some people say something. Hold on, let me see.
We have lots of questions, but we only have 2 minutes left. I wanted to give you a chance.
Okay. Someone said, what is my main goal with sound healing?
Yeah.
And I think that just to inspire, just to lift up, just to add as much light and shine as much light and harmony that I can, and help encourage, and really hopefully this is just the start, and encouraging the next generation and new artists to take what we're doing and building and run and take it far, and take technology and help humanity just go to another level. So I think we can all do that together. This whole community, we all work together. You have a strength. Trista has a strength. This person has a strength. Bryant has a strength. Everyone comes together. Shane has a strength. Everyone works together, and then we end up just elevating together. So everyone on this call, everyone on this call has a critical piece to play. And let's do it.
Yes. Well, we love you on the team Oneness, and thank you for your time today. So grateful, and best wishes for your new album, and I can't wait to hear it. Definitely let us know when it's out. Of course you will, but anyway.
Thank you.
We love you very much. Have an amazing day.
Guys. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye. Namaste.
Thank you, Dashama.
You don't have to, just mute it.
Oh, am I muted?
Oh, here I am. You're welcome. Oh my God. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce my best friend, one of my best friends. Okay, Trista's number one, and then you're so, I was sorry.
I need you.
Goddess supporting goddesses all
you know, you know how it goes. So I love you. The love is so deep and so real, and I really appreciate you and all the work that you did to put this together, and all the things that you do to make the world a better place, and your intention being beautiful all the time. And I want you to feel the appreciation of that. And excited to hear your talk and experience what you're going to be sharing. And this will be the last talk of the whole thing. So Bryant's also going to do a closing. But for anybody who doesn't know Bryant, I'll just introduce him really quick. He's kind of a multifaceted unicorn is how I would look at it if I was just trying to describe it, if you didn't understand him. But he just has so many gifts and talents. And at the core of him, he's like pure white and like with pink hair or something. So it's like fuzzy, loving unicorn. But, you know, he has a strong side too. So he's a really, really balanced human being and doing good things for the world. Can't wait to see your new book that you're going to write and all the beautiful projects that you're working on with Dream Day, Modern Nirvana Conference, and the Flow State movie. So thank you for being here. Can't wait for everybody to experience your gifts. Bryant's an amazing breath worker. He's going to be teaching some of that. Whatever he's going to share is going to be great, I'm sure. Definitely going to lead a meditation, I believe, at 444, which is a really important time because today is 444, and this will be time 444, so we'll have 6 4s. We're just entering into a vortex of alignment, connected to the infinite abundance of source energy, and then like allowing that to be our vibration and shine that out from wherever we are across the world to everybody into their hearts. So I'm looking forward to this. Thank you, Bryant.
Thank you, Dashama.
Thank you.
This is a cool conference. We did good. Everyone did good. This is like,
Yeah, it's fun.
really deeply listening to everything that's going on, and there's so many breadcrumbs of awakening, so much truth being said, and so many hearts being spoken from. Like, this is like beyond my imagination. So I'm grateful for everyone that chose to be here today. Again, I think Sebastian covered this, but what we're choosing to digest, right? Whether it's books, Instagram posts, TikToks, whatever it is, it's shaping our reality and our identity, and we're constantly proving ourselves right, or, you know, going against kind of what we want to embody, what we want to be in the world. And I think now is the time where not only are we choosing, okay, I want my thoughts to be love, but we have the opportunity to allow our actions to follow, and every word to be aligned with that sensation and feeling of the expression of love, you know, like, and being tuned in. Like, you know, again, my main thing with breath is like, don't come here to learn anything. You know, if I'm doing what I want to do for myself, is I want you to pull the mind actually out of the body with the breath. So like releasing any sort of structure of how I think something should go, how I think I should act, like any limitations or fears or even ideas of how something should be. The breath is so key to allow and dissolve all those things, to go inwards and expand, to go inwards and expand, to go inwards and expand. So again, I referenced this last night, but the breath, the mind is king. You know, we're consciously co-creating all the time, and either we're consciously doing it, or we're unconsciously doing it. Okay. And that's your own inwards discovery of if you're choosing to take responsibility for your reality. But because mind is king over everything, the one thing that can beat the mind is the breath is the king over the mind. When you feel a deep inhale, it is almost nearly impossible to hold onto any thoughts, right? You're able to create and harness the quality of emotions that you want to embody. So no matter what state I'm in, breathing deeply, right? And like, I want to feel love. I want to feel peace. I want to act upon these things. You're able to lengthen your inhale. Choose to be that vibration, that feeling right now, experiencing that reality right now. I don't have anything outside this that I need to be these extraordinary qualities. And you can give that to yourself. And it plays a big part in this world. So that's all I have for the philosophy of breath, and why, you know, how it's really allowed me to let go of all the things that's been holding me back up to this point. Because, you know, I truly wish for all of us the freedom of expansion, the freedom to be and say and do whatever we want, with alignment with our heart, with alignment with the greater good of everybody, to learn how to create businesses and environments that are fun, you know, good for this world and good for everybody. So that's where I'm at with that. The breath we're going to do today, we have about 10 minutes. What I really want to do is just drop us into a meditation at 444. and just allow all, you know, the peace and the silence to really be embodied, so we can deep listen to everything that is, listen to our hearts, listen to each other on this call, listen to all of humanity on this earth, and really be intuitively guided for what it means after. So just take a moment right here. If we can all join in just with to start doing a coherent breath. This is going to connect us to our hearts. So I'm going to count for an inhalation of 5, and then we're going to exhale for a count of 5. And we're going to just drop into a deeper rhythm of existence. So take a moment, close your eyes, get as comfortable as you possibly can. Then inhale on me. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Yeah, release all that. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Start breathing in the qualities you want for yourself in this world. And exhale and create it for this world. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more on your own. Breathe in. Slowly, when you're ready, bring your awareness back. Open your eyes. Come back to this moment. Allow yourself to notice the simple difference of that breath. It's always available for you, every time and every day. Breathing the same air that everyone's breathed before you and everyone will breathe, feeling interconnected to everything that is. So this next breath, because we are going for a warrior theme today, right? What are those things where I'm feeling down, right? I'm depressed, I have anxiety and stress, because I know those feelings very intimately. What can I do to eradicate that from my body? How can I feel and understand with my emotional intelligence what's internally going on, and then use these tools and techniques to transmute it and release it out into the world gracefully, right? But completely let it go, because it is not you, okay? So what I recommend is we're gonna do 3 breaths, well, maybe 2 breaths, because 444 is coming up fairly quickly. But we're gonna just do, so you're breathing from, if you can see here, this is about the distance that you can breathe. So it's right here, right above your belly button, and then right at your thoracic, the upper neck right here. You can breathe into this space. So what we're doing is we're expanding our shell to allow more airflow to come in. And then on the exhale, it's naturally the airflow is gonna come out. So the breath is actually breathing you. What we can do is we can add an energetic aspect of it, right? So this is where your energetic locks come in. You have your Mula Bandha, Adhyana Bandha, just briefly explaining those. You're squeezing your perineum, right? The muscles you use to go to the bathroom. You're flexing as hard as you can. So think of it like, if you're guys, it's when you're having sex, it's moving that tantra energy up, right? The more emotion, the more primal energy and passion you can put into this, like you're having sex with life, the more effective this is gonna be, okay? So we're gonna just do a couple of these breaths together, but you're gonna focus the energy aspect of it right at your root. And slowly and consciously, you're gonna breathe the energy up from your root, clench your Mula Bandha, clench your Adhyana Bandha, which is gonna bring your belly button into the back of your spine. And you're gonna breathe it in, right? All the way up, slowly and steady, really try to control this energy. And you're gonna bring it all the way up to your third eye. And we're all gonna hold this together, okay? Until I say release. So again, we're breathing in here, but we're focusing our energy from the root, and we're with complete passion and love and grace. We're gonna move this energy up, okay? So right now I invite you to do, what is the most important thing in your life? Breath to me is the most powerful form of manifestation. Anything you breathe in, anything you exhale is constantly shaping your reality. So this is a time to be like, okay, what do I really want for this world? I'm going to offer the aspect of oneness, to focus on the interconnectedness of everyone here, of this world, of us all rising together in love. So that's gonna be my intention. But come up with what it means to you, because that's part of the self discovery as well. So we're gonna do this together. We got 4 minutes. Let's get at least 3 of these in. They're gonna be delicious. All right, everyone, get really comfortable. We're gonna do this with our eyes open as well. Great. So we're gonna breathe in through our nose, clench the mula bandha, focus on the energy coming up. Inhale. Up, 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 all the way up to your third eye. And even squeeze your rib cage even tighter. So focus the energy, wring out your rib cage, and feel it coming up, and hold it here. And then exhale through the mouth. We have 2 more of these. Again, put passion, pleasure, allow this to feel really good. Focus this ecstasy, and then bring this up. So we're going to clench the energy locks. Breathe in through your nose. Let's do it together. Keep it into your mind's eye, keep your intention, feel the energy being sent out to the world. And hold, squeeze everything even tighter. Exhale through the mouth. Take a moment here to get ready for the third and final one. Move the body if you need to. This is going to be a longer hold. Really, we want to feel our spine from the root be lifted up and go into our back. We want to feel ourselves elevating with the energy that we're coming up. Okay, you ready? One joyful inhale. Exhale. 11 of this one. Clench your energy locks. Breathe in. All the way up to your third eye. Send out your intention of this world and what you want to create. Squeeze your ribcage tighter. And then exhale through your mouth. And then slowly come back when you're ready. Feel the space that was created, lightness in your heart, your awareness, your attention, your alertness, the connection. And it feels like there's almost a deeper sense of silence that you can tap into as well. Okay, it's almost 4:44. This is a beautiful time to structure reality. Let's get really clear on our intention. It could be very simple, only positive thoughts. Allow yourself to form an identity that will really serve you. You can physically feel this in the body. So go ahead, let's close our eyes. Let's get to it. I'm so grateful for this experience, grateful for this moment. We did it with the intention of doing this 4:44 meditation. So with all the love in your heart, begin to drop into your body. Let's breathe into our solar plexus, to the seat of your intuition, connection to your higher self, a deep knowing of what you need to do. Breathe in the power of the moment. Breathe in wisdom. Breathe in all the love you have to give. Allow yourselves to feel firmly planted on the earth. Feel the energy coming up through your feet and out your head. Start deepening your inhalations. Feel yourself expand, radiate, glow. And the exhale just dissolve into the space that you created. Allow yourself to be elevated higher and higher. Looking down at your body, feeling a sense of gratitude for your unique adventure on this earth. Every in-breath, let it empower you. And then exhale, just let everything go. As you continue with this breath, the Sufis have a saying, towards oneness. So on inhalation, I want you to lightly place on your breath the mantra, towards oneness. And when you exhale, do the same. So when you breathe in, towards oneness. You exhale, towards oneness. And you continue with this for the next couple minutes. Slowly start to bring yourself back. Mind, body, spirit connected. Deeply inhale to your heart. And on the exhale, just allow the blood flow to go to your hands, to your feet, to your head. Move at the waist. Allow your thoughts to be love, your words to be love, your actions to be love. Know that this peace and this connection is always there. Know that you're special, not because we're different than everybody else, because we each have the universe inside of us. And that can be nothing, it can be everything. And beyond any interpretation of what we consider oneness is, love can be the key. And we can always give it. Slowly open your eyes with a smile. Feel into your heart. Feel in this present moment. And 444, meditation, success. If anyone has any questions or wants to speak about how they're feeling, what they learned, anything like that, Dashama and I are both there for as long as you need us.
Yeah, I just want to say great job. Thank you, Bryant, for that beautiful session. Really felt it. And we were doing the singing bowls, so that was also really nice. Thank you, Trista. And we can.
Or your breath planned. And then I was like, wait, I think we just need to just grab all this beautiful information. Just hearing you speak and everything too. I was like, I was gonna have us all beat on our chest. I was like, no.
Yeah, I would have done that.
No.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes! 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 I love this community.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, so maybe if we have some questions, people are saying so many nice things. That was absolutely amazing. From Amanda, awesome experience from Noreen. Thank you all for coming. This is a special day in the universe, and we're cosmically aligned today to be together. So I honor you and thank you, each and every person that's been able to be a part of this and contribute your beautiful energy with your presence, and the contributors as well. Bryant, thank you so much for all the work that you did to put this together. And some of the other people that you want to mention, some of the people that helped also?
Yeah, Chelsea, Laura, thank you so much. To all the family that attended too, I love you. And I think my dad's been to every one of my workshops at this point, and that was absolutely incredible. Trista, Shane, again, my heart to yours. There's really no words to explain how fun and uplifting and dynamic and creative my experience with Dashama, all of us together has been. And look at what we've created from it, and I really hope to be able to do more projects like this where it's like not only feels good, but it's just like, why does this not, it's just like everyone should have this, you know what I mean? And
This is so fun. Amazing. Yeah. So hopefully we're going to do more Oneness festivals in the future, and we'll have different contributors and speakers perhaps. So please keep that in mind. If you know good speakers and you were a speaker and you have any good recommendations or referrals of other people that would be in alignment, for me that would be a real joy to get to hear more of these beautiful moments through people's soul being expressed in this format. And everybody brought something so unique and beautiful together, and I feel like it was the most diverse and perfect combination of offerings in the name of oneness probably that ever existed in a way. And we started in that trend over here. Egyptian Tantra 444, universal alignments of abundance, expansion, and miracles, and angels and ascended masters, and this beautiful moment that we got all to come together and share in this amazing gift of life, and maybe access a little bit more, a little bit greater experience of these bodies in this life, in this physical plane, and anchoring that in so you can really call in even more light to share and to uplift the world. So that's what I feel like our tribe's all about, this oneness tribe. We could call it or however we want to consider it, but to me, that's my true family. You can be born into families and then you find your real tribe, and this is for me a big part of my soul. So thank you all. I love you. It makes so much difference. Give yourself a big hug. Big hug, like just hug yourself and for me. So this is me hugging you. And then hug the whole world. Open arms and hug. Exhale, hug yourself. And one more, hug the universe. And exhale, hug yourself. And inhale, hug the source of life. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Namaste, Satnam. And we'll be in touch if we're going to have more in the future. Get in touch with me. You can go to my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all Dashama, my website, dashama.org. This website is onenessfestival.live. So that's the dream. We're going to make this bigger and bigger, perhaps, and get thousands of people coming together with the same beautiful energy. Yes. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything?
I'll stick around for as long as we need to answer any questions you have.
Okay. So if you go follow Trista, she has in her, she has 2 pages. One is called Becoming Ion, I-O-N. So this is a whole energy shift that she's transforming into, and it's a really exciting process as she shares about that journey. So go check that out. Definitely follow her. Follow everybody. Dan Millman, such a gift to have him here today. He's such a legend. Maejor, like super legend, and excited about that. And also Sebastian, what a brilliant, brilliant person and connected soul. And obviously Shane and Trista, best people on earth. And Bryant, gift of God. Love you all so much. Any questions, I'm also here to answer if you guys have any for me. By the way, maybe we could offer, if you post in the comments, even if it's not a question, you could say like, what did you like best? Any feedback would be interesting, because I love to hear also if we can improve this format or anything that would have been more enjoyable or something, any kind of improvements is always good. Yeah. Some of the things we're just working out, the lighting and stuff, locations, wardrobe. Does anybody have questions? Do you see any, Bryant?
I like this question. Any oneness workshops in London? in your
We
home.
should.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, online. Yeah, we got this quarantine. It's called we can't even leave our house to go to the beach. Once that's over, we'll be flying all over. Yeah.
We're gonna definitely do some stuff in like Costa Rica, Morocco, Egypt.
Yeah, retreats. We got a Kauai retreat in August. If you want to learn these practices more, August in beautiful Princeville, Kauai, August 10th through 20th. And you can see the information about different retreats and stuff that I lead. And Bryant's a teacher there with us and leading his epicness, different things that lift your energy and clear your energy. And so we have Kauai in August and Bali in January. And Bali is a month. So you can really go diving in deep, 30 days. Changes your life, seriously. So you can check that out. It's called Pranashama. It's a shamanic yoga school. That's what I teach, is kind of like energy healers. And pranashama.com. Anybody who wants to come. Hi, Noreen.
Hi.
Do you have a question?
Yes. As a beginner, I'm just learning all of this stuff, and I really enjoy your yoga on Yoga Daily. I subscribe to them and I do the yoga, but I wanted to know, like, as a beginner, what would be like an increment of minutes that we can spend just so to be able to motivate ourselves to do it more? Like do you recommend like as starters to do it maybe 3 times a week or every day, or?
Honestly, for me, it depends on your objective. If your goal is to just feel a little better, then you can do it a couple times a week. If you want to make real progress with yoga, the best thing is if you do it every day. Even if you only do 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's better every day than only a couple days a week. You know, it's just the way that your body learns is by repetition, and it creates habits. And from those habits, we start to formulate our true character and how we show up. So if you can do yoga every day for 30 days, meditation every day for 30 days, do your breath work 30 days in a row, even if it's only 10-20 minutes, you're going to build a habit of that. Then it'll be like, brush your teeth, do yoga, brush your teeth, meditate. These are like eat food, part of the necessities of life.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. So nice to meet you. Namaste.
You too. Lovely. Namaste.
Namaste. Anybody else have questions? We got lots of wisdom here. Anybody feels like tapping in? I'll come on, yeah. Okay, now it's not gonna know that because look, it's like pointing at me over here. Try to speak and get it to go to your. Okay.
Yeah, just talk to this one. Okay. Dashama is joining us over here. I did, but it's not. Oh, no, I can turn your sound. Okay. Okay. Try it now. Is it picking us up?
Is it gonna?
I don't know if it's going to pick us up. How do we get it over here? Hello. Hey, Brian, how do we switch it to over this one?
Hey, you're on. You're on everyone's. You're on. The great.
Oh, you're on.
16 out of 10.
Is it now?
Can you hear him?
Yeah, you're
Hello?
live.
Oh, yeah. Now, how do we get the camera to come to us?
You are. It's not going to show on yours, but you are for everybody else.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, we're here. So if you guys have any questions, we were just like, I'm going to sit next to her because it'll be more fun. Yeah. That was like the main reason to come down. It wasn't like any other reason. But we're here to answer questions. And if you all feel inspired to be a part of something like this more, then I would also ask that you go to the Facebook page. This is being also on Brian's Facebook page today, but you can share it with people if you know anybody who might want to have listened to it, because it'll be a recording on there as a video. So you'll get to share this if you want. Feel free to do that from Brian's Facebook page. Right, Brian?
Yeah, that'd be nice. There's a couple questions here. Mary asked, I want to know how I can help my family heal. There's a lot of negativity at home with them. They're all harboring so much negativity, and I want to help them get to a place of love. You guys have a recommendation?
That's a good question.
Question,
I
right?
have lots of recommendations. I had also a really unhealed family. First of all, I have to say with family, it's tricky because they don't always want to hear it from their family. And most of them would rather pay a therapist and hear it from an external source than someone that's deeply close to their heart. It's just something difficult to hear and to really pay attention when somebody's so close. And so when it's a stranger or somebody that's like a professional and you're paying them, somehow it feels that there's more distance and space for you to be yourself, and then they can access healing better. And I know this because I've been leading these healing retreats for over 12 years, and it's interesting because lots of people come to them. The best, though, is when couples come together, like a husband and wife. I've had lots of that come, and it deepens their experience together when you do these practices together. But most of the time, your family does not want you to tell them how to work on themselves, you know? So you have to really wait for them to come to you and want that for like your siblings, if you have sisters, brothers, even your parents. Although some people will just be more bold and be like, this is what you should do to change yourself, work on yourself. And some parents are receptive to that. What do you say?
But you know what you could do? I always feel like if people get into meditating and they get into healthy eating and just like what they listen to, then it's going to naturally make them be less negative and they're going to be more connected with one another. So maybe you can just try going to them and saying, hey, who wants to go meditate with me? You know, doing like group meditations, and people are more into this now than you think. They might be receptive, or give them a little sage kit, you know, talk to them about sage and, you know, do it yourself. I think that would be useful in families. It's going to depend on how toxic the family member is. If they're very, very toxic, I've had to cut certain family members out of, like, I can't really talk to them. I can't be around their energy because, you know, it's not my job to run their life, or make them be a certain way. Some people you have to release, and when they learn and they grow, and then their energy is at a higher level. But not you can just cut everyone out. But I'm saying, like, there's certain people that are really difficult, that are very toxic. Like, you have to sometimes just give them space to grow. And I found that when I do that, those people grow, and then they come back and they're better and they're amazing. And, you know, so offer them, you know, meditations, tips, and sage, and buy them some crystals and books. People like getting stuff, even if it's a book they wouldn't typically read. If it's a gift and it's sitting on their bedside, eventually they might pick it up. They might flip through it, and they might pick up some things. They might learn some stuff, you know.
Yeah, and it depends on which family. Like, if they're your children, this is a different relationship, and if it's your spouse, or if it's your parents. So each type of family person could be really related to differently. Like, I feel, I don't have children, but I've been with Trista's kids and with her dynamic with them, and it's interesting because as a parent, you need to get your children doing these things, which is a little different than, you could be more authoritarian. You're like, do this or you're grounded, versus like, you're telling your sister, and you're like, you need to be meditating. She's like, quit being a bitch. You know, so like ultimately, like, different people will receive it differently. And then your children, they have to do what you say. So that's the one opportunity we can really affect the future, is by, you know, getting children to do these things and making it required.
Well, it's hard. You know, it's a hard balance, because I try not to make the kids do stuff.
You do it in a fun way.
Yeah, you make it fun. I try to like offer up ideas and let them kind of choose. I have a very free way of parenting. She sees how I am. I need to be a little stricter, probably. I'm very free and open with them. They like, yeah, let them grow and be who they are. But I do need to probably, yeah. We all need to like be a little stricter with our kids if we're.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I have somebody to comment. I want to know how okay, so this was the one with the family, and I just want to ask you, Mary, do you, if you want, you can answer. Do you feel that was helpful, like the response? Because I know this can be a very difficult thing, especially because having family, some people are so connected to your family that you feel them more. Like, if you don't talk to them hardly, then it's not a big deal even, you know. But if it's like somebody you're talking to every single day, you have to have dinner with them every week or something, now you have to really deal with this. Whereas if it's something that they're not around as much, you know, just love and forgiveness, love and compassion with family. holding space for knowing that everybody's exactly perfectly where they need to be in their journey. Does being vegan make you close to nature? I think so. I mean, I think that plants are from nature. Plants are nature. All we're doing is eating nature. Yeah, okay. It makes me feel more grounded. The vitamins that you get makes me feel, like my cells are living. You eat what you are, what you eat. So if you're eating dead cells and like then you're gonna, meat, you're gonna be like putrid. And then when you're eating vegan, you're like you're living. Your cells are living. So you're feeding your body, but that's what it becomes. So. Exactly. Yeah. Hey, Brian, Michael has a question. Recommend any breathing technique to deal with anxiety?
Oh yeah. Hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, your mic's muted. But yeah, I just wanted to say like it's crazy. I was like having all these like panic attacks like last month, so I saw like my best friend's mom like pass like she passed away, and I saw her like dead body like right after, and like that kind of like messed with me for a little bit. And I used to meditate like a lot like when I was 16. My mom introduced it to me, and I just like lost insight like of how to like meditate. So I've like been slowly getting back into it, and I'm just wondering like the best like techniques. I've just been focusing on my breath and just trying to get one with myself. And you're also muted.
Brian?
Thank you. Sorry to hear that, brother. And yeah, I feel breath is the number one way you can clear some of this stuff, and comes and release it. In general, it's an energy locked in your nervous system. You experience something like a panic attack. It's more of a misfiring of your body. Like think of like an alarm that goes off. Like these panic attacks actually happen to a lot of people, and it's your body's just over interpretation of the stimuli, and it's almost impossible to control. So like with a fire alarm, think of it like you don't want a fire alarm that is super quiet, because like even if something small happens, no one's gonna wake up from it. You want something that's like loud and aware to like so you can readjust and understand what's going on. The good thing is like it works. The other thing is there's tools that you can use to like calm and like drop back in. So if you think of like your nervous system, you have two parts: the autonomic and the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, right? What you want to activate during the panic attack is your parasympathetic. And what you can do with that is really just drop into longer inhalations and exhalations. So because no matter how it is, allow your body to like, if it needs to release, because it's if you like, even if you hold someone when they're having a panic attack and you trap the emotion in their body, it's actually going to stay in their nervous system. So you want to do is like open yourself up, open your body up, shake it out, release it all, really get it out of your nervous system, release it, because you don't want to hold on to it and you don't want to make it a part of you. Okay. Then when you're able to release this, drop back into a deeper state of awareness, drop back into a deeper breath, allow a sense of peace, meditative awareness to flood your soul, which you already inherently know how to do. I know you do, and a lot of the imagery, a lot of this stuck stuff can be released through the body. So even just giving yourself a massage and like telling yourself, this is how it is right now. And even though it fucking sucks, I'm going to make friends with it. Cool. And if you need anything, cool. Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We're gonna get another. Okay, that was really beautiful, Brian. Did that help, Mike? What do you feel, Michael?
Yeah, no, I feel great. Like, especially doing this today. Like, thank you guys for hosting this, and it's definitely a beautiful experience, And no, definitely, I'm gonna focus more on like having longer intakes and outtakes. Like it was crazy. Like it just came out of nowhere, but the mind is very powerful. So I've just been trying to focus on that, and during this quarantine, it's given me like a lot of time to focus on myself and build myself up, because I just like moved to LA, so I'm like a filmmaker out here, and it's just like it's been so crazy. And like yeah, dude, yeah, if you ever want to like I'm a photographer as well, and also the DaBaby music video just dropped, and I helped with that, so it's like still on trending. But it's just like life is such a beautiful experience, and it was like I had this thing that was like holding me back, and it was just, I feel like I needed this quarantine to like really focus on myself and just conquer this feeling. So thank you for your insight on how to get through it, because, you know, like you said before, you know, it's always easier to talk to like that external force rather than like people that you love and like who are close to you, because, you know, I never like saw therapists before. And like when I did see a therapist, like, I don't know, all those emotions just kind of like let out. It was like, wow, like I needed that. But I focused, I realized like, you know, maybe meditation is like the key. So
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mike. We have another question from Noreen, and she's asking, would yoga help those with fibromyalgia? I enjoyed every aspect of this oneness. Trista's demonstration was great. Enjoyed it, applying it to gain more sensuality between my hubbies. So thanks.
Yes.
Last question.
We like to hear.
Wonderful, Bryant and Dashama. So that's Noreen from Daily Yoga. That's how she found us. So, and here's the question, would yoga help with fibromyalgia? Here's the thing, there's many layers to fibromyalgia, and I'm going to tell you, no, okay. I'm going to tell you the truth is that most of the time when we're having a physical pain in our body, if it's fibromyalgia, you can cancer, a knot in your back, a kink in your neck, a broken something, whatever your body is going through, it's a message. It's always speaking to us. So if your body is talking to you and it's saying, pain here, so you got to look at what is this aspect representing to through consciousness being expressed through your physical form. So there's a really good book. It's called Messages from the Body. It's by Dr. Michael J. Lincoln. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a really big book. It's like 700 pages. It's a physician's desk reference book, and it's basically all of the psychosomatic reasons that we manifest pain, injury, illness, sickness, or disease in our life, and what the message is of each place that we're manifesting that. So if you're having fibromyalgia, this is on a very core level, and it's systemic, meaning it's all the muscles. And so this is a systemic condition, and you can find out exactly what it is, the message is for you through that book. But what I would suggest is you have to address the root core of the message to get to the release of the actual pain, especially if it's something like fibromyalgia, which most doctors will say that you can't cure. You can, and I feel you release it on the deep levels through yoga, through breath work, through meditation. Your diet is one of the keys for sure. There are herbs, there's like cleanses that you can do. Getting rid of parasites will help, getting rid of heavy metals will help, getting your body clean and healthy and in good shape, moving every day, breathing every day, and healing yourself. And also ayahuasca, if you haven't explored that, I feel that ayahuasca can really heal almost anything, and it's the one plant medicine in the whole world that I feel the main intention that it has is just to keep clearing you on every single soul lifetime, every karma. It just goes through and starts just like wrapping them in love and forgiveness and dissolving it from your memory. So I suggest that if you can try something like that. It's super powerful. It can be like 10 years of therapy in like one night, you know.
But for fibromyalgia, I think your diet, trying maybe a raw food diet is really great, like doing a raw food for 30 days.
And a cleanse. Yeah,
and a cleanse. It would be really useful. We're going to do some videos and put some videos out about different cleanses that we recommend and that we do. And like a lot of like raw food cooking videos. So I think you can heal yourself for sure, and yoga will help.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a journey. You want to say something, Brian?
Wow.
Product of energy right now. We have about 1% to 2% left on this laptop. So
okay. All right, we'll wrap it up, and we'll just say
thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
And being a part of the oneness and the love and spreading your light. And we just send you so many blessings from our hearts out to the universe, out to everyone here that joined us, your families, your communities, your home, and the whole humanity right now, and just wrap it all in love and kindness and forgiveness and healing and all the energy that you can, sending from your heart with love to everyone out there that's being affected right now on the planet as a family, as a tribe. The oneness tribe is here to raise the vibration. So thank you.
tell a friend, tell a family member the next time we do a Oneness Zoom to log in. It's awesome. Yeah. It's weird. Follow us. Bye. Yeah. See you soon. Namaste.
All right. Everybody.
That.
See you, Michael.
Is that my name?
Good to meet you, brother. And Mary, I'm going to connect with you outside of this, okay? I love you.
See you guys.